There's a big deal going on at Whataburger. Our new Big Ranch Wrap is just $3 with a crispy chicken strip, buttermilk ranch, cheese, and fresh veggies in a warm tortilla. Or for $4, go bigger with 5 premium Whata chicken bites. Or go bigger than big with a Bacon Cheese Whataburger Jr. with fresh 100% beef and melty cheese for just $5. Add fries and a drink for just $2.49. Now that's a big deal. The What a Deal, now at What a Burger. For a limited time at participating locations. Download the app.
At the University of Missouri, Kansas City, we know our world-class success goes hand in hand with the success of our region. Like players on the field, we are fueled by passion.
Tip of the cap, and now here we go. He gets Larry Walker. And here he is. He's going to face him right-handed. Why not? He looks like a catcher hitting. And now he's back to the left side. And a 2-out walk. So Walker reaches base after that first pitch. It was like the flyby here right after the anthem.
The MLB app. Yeah, it's got game. This game. These games. All the games. Pre-game, post-game, and everything in between. This is baseball your way. With real-time stats, scores, breaking news, and custom content that hits every time. Because you choose the teams and pick the players you want to follow. So when they catch it on the field, you catch it on the app.
3-2 to Vargas. Got him. Fastball at 99. Back-to-back Ks for Miz.
Setting up on the outside corner, and he hit the glove. Perfect pitch by Mizorowski. Excellent command with that fastball.
1-on-1, and he finishes the inning with a strikeout. Miz with 3 Ks. Got him. Blew him away with 99. 5 Ks in the first 2 innings for Mizorowski. And he struck him out. 10 Ks on opening day for Miz.
Some overnight oats right before the game. My teammates look at me like, what are you doing, dude?
My mom's cooking, probably. She makes some good. She's got a tuna fish casserole. That's pretty good.
I went 5 for 5. I need to eat the same thing. Last time, Saturday, I ate arepa with eggs, and then next day, I got to eat arepas with eggs. So my mom make it for me, and then when my mom is with me,
Everything's good.
I save a lot of money.
Estamos lindo.
Pitch is the plan after this rain moves through. Rain Delay Theater coming your way in just a moment on the Royals Baseball Network.
Outdoor projects shouldn't be complicated. American Topsoil delivers and installs topsoil fast with their power wheelbarrow, getting you the right amount of soil that you need right where you need it. Fast, accurate, effortless. Hey, it's Scott Parks for American Topsoil. They handle the whole job, so you don't have to. Skip the heavy bags and save your back. American Topsoil. Soil delivered, soil installed.
Soil delivered, soil installed. AmericanTopsoil.com.
To hydrate or caffeinate, why not both? New Sonic Refreshers blend real fruit with a splash of energizing green tea. Try it sparkling or still in 3 mouth-watering flavors: berry citrus, mango peach, or strawberry passion fruit. You've earned it. Seriously. Carried all your groceries in one trip? Turned your clothing pile back into a treadmill? Parallel parked on the first try? Sip to that. All new Sonic Refreshers. Live free, eat Sonic.
You want to live free?
Ford is here for those who build America. Those who believe that giving everything we've got today will pay off tomorrow. Who will drive America forward for 250 years to come. If that's who you are, you value what we value. Now offering employee pricing. American value for American values. Go to Ford.com or your local Ford dealer for more information.
Looking for paint store experts who make your project smoother, faster, and done right? At Spectrum Paint, we have over 100 stores with more brands, more expertise, precision color matching, and flexible delivery to your job site or home. And for walls that take a beating, ask about Pittsburgh Paint's anti-scuff interior paint, a new epoxy fortified zero VOC formula with unrivaled scuff resistance and great coverage. Ideal for hallways, stairwells, offices, high traffic zones, and everywhere life happens. Spectrum Paint, paint stores with more. Visit SpectrumPaint.com for a location near you.
It's the Royals and the Cardinals, game 2 of a 3-game series. Matinees both today and tomorrow. Tomorrow's a 1:15 start, and we are pretty confident it will start at 1:15. Today, it was supposed to be a 1:15 start, but Mother Nature had other ideas. We had rain throughout the morning in St. Louis, and it cleared for an hour or two. They got the field ready, but then they had to cover it again because this latest rain shower came through. So right now at 2 o'clock start, 2 o'clock, the Royals and the Cardinals. That's our expectation. That's what they've announced for a start time today. And in the meantime, time to visit Rain Delay Theater. And who better when the Royals are playing the Cardinals here at Busch Stadium than Denny's visit with Whitey Herzog. Those many years ago back in 2013 when the Royals were here in St. Louis. And that was a day where we had many rain delays too. But lots to talk about as we enjoy the late, great Hall of Famer Whitey Herzog, who managed both these franchises so well, and his visit with Denny.
Denny Matthews with Hall of Fame manager Whitey Herzog. And, of course, Whitey grew up near St. Louis in New Athens, Illinois, maybe 25, 30 miles, 35 miles from St. Louis. Now, did you come over here to St. Louis to see the Cardinals and or the Browns when you were growing up?
Right. I used to skip school a lot, and they had a lot of weekday afternoon games, and I had a principal that would protect me. I'd say, I'm going over to see Hal Newhouser pitch tomorrow, and he'd say, okay. My mother would never know it. I'd hitchhike to Belleville, take a dime, a bus for a dime to St. Louis, a streetcar out to the ballpark for another dime, have $1.25 general admission ticket. So for $1.45, I was in the ballpark. I'd sneak up in the upper deck because they had it closed off, and I'd get me 5 or 6 baseballs, and I'd keep 3 for myself. And there's a lot of people from Scott Air Force Base there because it was right during the war, World War II. And I'd sell 3 balls for $1. So I'd have me a hot dog for 15 cents and a Coke for a dime. And I'd go home with a couple of bucks in my pocket. And the next morning in study hall, I'd always be called up to the principal's office, and everybody thought I was getting chewed out, for skipping school. And he was a baseball fan. I'll never forget. What a great guy, Johnny Vogler. And he'd say, well, how did Newhouser look yesterday? And we'd talk baseball, and I'd go back to the study hall, and I never told any of the other students or my classmates any different. I just said, man, I really got reamed out up there about skipping school.
So you were evaluating talent when you were a kid.
Yeah, I can remember the first big league game I saw. I went over to see the Dodgers play the Cardinals, and Mickey Owen was catching for the Dodgers, and Walker Cooper was catching for the Cardinals. And they were from right outside of Kansas City and lived in the area. They were boyhood friends and so forth. And that was the day they got in a fight. And that was almost a free-for-all, and it was really funny because Walker was so big and strong. He later coached at Kansas City when I played there for Harry Kraft, and the funny thing was about that, Walker just picked Mickey up like he was a toy or something, and if he just threw him down, he'd have broke Mickey's back. But that was the first game that I ever saw, and Cardinals had a great team. They had Ray Sanders on first, and Emil Verban at that time. Shane Deese was in service, and then Marty Marion, Whitey Karofsky, Terry Moore, Enos Slaughter, and Wright Musial on the left. It seemed like every Sunday when I'd go to see a doubleheader, like Mort Cooper and their pitch, but I went a lot to see the Browns. I really enjoyed watching some of the American League teams. I was kind of a Yankee lover, maybe because they were winning all the time. And during the war, they weren't very good. But I saw a lot of those games during the war years, 42, 43, 44, 45. Mm-hmm.
Denny Matthews chatting with Whitey Herzog. And you had a very nice playing career, 8 years with some big league teams, including Kansas City.
Well, I was very fortunate. First of all, I was signed by the Yankees. I played 5 years. I had 2 years in between those 5 years in the Korean War, but I didn't go over to Korea. I was at Fort Leonard Wood, played there for 2 years, got my first managing job there, got out of service, and I went to the Yankee rookie school, and Casey Stengel fell in love with me. I don't know why, but I really figured it out all later. But he had his own language, and he didn't call anybody's name, maybe, hey, doctor, or maybe your number. But for some reason, I was kind of his pet, and when I went to the rookie school, he was very impressed, and he told Ralph Houck, who was managing Denver the first year that Kansas City was in the big leagues, in 55, I think that was. He said, that's your center fielder. And so I really went from my Korean War years to AAA at Kansas City, at Denver. I mean, I had a decent year. I hit about 290, and I had about 20-some homers, and at one time I was leading the league. I think I ended up with 99. It was good enough to go on their 40-man roster and attended a couple of spring trainings with them. But I was like a lot of guys, you know. I'll never forget on April Fool's Day, Easter Sunday, 1956, I come back from going to church Easter services with Bobby Richardson and Tony Kubek. And Bob Fischel, the PR guy for the Yankees, says, Casey wants to see you up in his suite at the Serena Hotel. And I went up there, and Casey had a few bells. You know, he was celebrating a little bit, I guess. And he said, I got to tell you, he said, you're not as good as the guy I got. Well, he was talking about Mantle, you know. I mean, he didn't have to tell me that I wasn't as good as the guy he's got. And then he said, I'll never forget, he traded me to Washington, and he said, Dresden's a good friend of mine. And he said, go over there and have a good year. And he said, I'll get you back. But I never had that good a year.
Let's jump ahead to June 1975. You're coaching with the California Angels, and you get a call from Kansas City.
Well, actually, Joe Burke, who I worked for at Texas, he was the general manager when I was there, and the team wasn't very good. You know, they lost over 500 games for 5 years in a row with Ted Williams, and I was on my way to losing 100, and our pitching was just terrible. We had some good young hitters, but Joe was very good to me. And when he hired me at Texas to replace Williams, and then Joe left to become the general manager of the Royals on a Saturday. And he was in the office, and Bob Short, the owner, called me up there and asked me if I wanted to be the general manager. And I said, no. I said, I really want to stay on the field and try to build you a ball club. And he said, this was Saturday night, he said, you're the best manager, we've ever had. Well, I think the only time he had before was Williams, you know, and I wasn't going to. Williams was a heck of a lot better hitter than I was, maybe the greatest hitter I ever seen, but I didn't know what kind of manager he was. But anyway, that was a Saturday, and Sunday morning I'm in the dugout. My ball club's 49 and 81, and Billy Morton got fired in Detroit, and Bob Short standing there, and he said, man, I'd fire my grandmother to hire Billy Morton. Well, I was a grandmother telling me the best manager you ever had on a Saturday night, and he fired me on Tuesday. So luckily, I went out to coach third base for Bobby Winkles. Harry Dalton wanted me to come over and help him out because he'd never managed, coming right from Arizona State. And Joe visited me in May, and came to Oakland. We were playing there, and he told me that he had interviewed Lasarda and Billy Hunter and myself, and he might have to make a change later on. And of course, later on, it happened, and he chose me, which gave me another opportunity to manage in the big leagues, because being a very average ball player, a guy that sweat down every cut-down date and every trading deadline in my whole career, to get a second opportunity to manage in big leagues was something, and I don't think that may have happened if it hadn't been for Joe. But I had turned down some big league jobs by the time I went by Kansas, from Hank Peters, who I worked for when I first went to work for Charlie Finley, and I just didn't feel it was right at that time and so forth. But Joe gave me that opportunity. Now, we'll talk about Kansas City when we bring it up a little bit later, Denny, but I do want to say I'll always be grateful to Joe Burke to give me that opportunity, because I stepped into a wonderful situation.
Now, Whitey, when you get to Kansas City, the first two things you see, and they were pretty obvious, you saw some pretty good young players, and you saw a big, big ballpark. And so you began to taper the team to the ballpark and to the talent that you had available.
Basically, the club was, I think, 15 games out of first place to Oakland when I got there. And when I took over, first of all, I had George Brett, was 21, one of the great players I've ever known, one of the greatest persons I've ever known, which you know that. And he was just blossoming. I mean, it seems like he was good for 3 hits every night when I took over. And then John Mayberry was on his that year hit 39 home runs. I'm talking about 75. And the one thing that I remember, Cookie was still playing second base, and Cookie was a great guy. And but Cookie was old, and we were playing on turf, and his range was limited. And you know what it really boiled down to? I had a great turf shortstop in Freddie Patek. I mean, that guy had quick feet, a great arm. He could really play shortstop on that field. I had Hal McRae, and that was the first year of the DH, and we also had Killebrew, so Hal played quite a bit of left field. Amos Soda's the center. And we had Pinson and Wright when I got there. We also had Jim Wolford to play left field, and the thing was, I had two superstars on the bench. And after watching them for a couple of weeks, Frank White, the second baseman, and Al Collins, the right fielder, I just thought that I'd be better off by putting Collins and Wright and Frank on second. And I want to say something from Frank. You know, everybody thought maybe he wouldn't hit. He had a little fear at the plate. Defensively, if he'd have played in New York, he'd have won all the Gold Gloves that Willie Randolph won. He might be the best second baseman going both ways, going in and out, coming in on slow hold ball, and his vertical jump was bigger and better than any second baseman I ever had. And yet, he was kind of like the guy I had in St. Louis, Ozzie Smith. He made himself a much better hitter in his later years, and one time was hitting cleanup for the Royals. So I was kind of lucky. Putting them two guys in the lineup was like making a major trade and not giving up anything. And I think Collins finished second in the league in MVP voting the following year, and we all know what Frank did. But, boy, Frank White was some player, and him and Patek became a great double-play combination. It was really fun to watch him every night.
Denny Matthews chatting with Whitey Herzog, Hall of Fame manager. I remember, and I know you do too, playoffs 76, 77, 78. 76, Chambliss hits the home run. I thought the two teams were dead even. 77, I thought the Royals were better than the Yankees. 78, I thought maybe the Yankees had a little bit of a talent edge. But the one thing that you never did have that probably would have won 3 in a row was a dominant closer.
Well, I really wanted the Royals to sign Gossage, and he's Colorado Springs boy. And we had Mark Littell, and Mark was fine. And I had Hungo Mongo later on, the duck and the bird, you know, and the Yankees had two, one I think Cy Young winner, and also the Rolaids guys in Sparky Lyle and Goose Gossage. And when you play a 5-game series, and I always felt at that time, 76, 77, 78, that Guidry was probably the best, most dominant starting pitcher. And then, of course, I had a pitcher there that he never got the recognition he should have got. Busby went down with arm trouble. He won some games in 76 and never pitched, 75 and never pitched again. But Dennis Leonard was a workhorse, and I think for a 5-year period, he won as many games as Palmer won. And he was really a number one guy. But the guys that really solidified my pitching staff was we had Splittorff, who took his turn every 5th day. Gura the same way. They always gave you a good performance. Very consistent guys. They knew how to pitch inside as left-hand pitchers and use their stuff. They weren't overpowering, but they were crafty left-handers. Then one day on the golf course, I picked up Jim Colburn in a deal, you know, and we got him, and I think he won 16. Al Fitzmaurice was there, who knew how to pitch around people in the lineup that he couldn't get out. He really, I called him a top stepper a lot of times, but he knew how to do it. He knew who he could get out and who he couldn't get out. And I think he won 16 games before we lost him in the expansion draft. But stepping into that situation in Kansas City was just the opposite of what I stepped into. 76, the funny thing about that series was Amos Sodas tried to jump on first to beat out of play and hurt his foot. So I moved Collins, who was 6'4", to center field and put McRae in right. And after a 19-minute delay in the 9th inning of the 5th game, Chambliss hit the ball to right field, and it went off the tip of Hal's glove. And if Collins had been out there, it would have been an easy catch. But in the meantime, I don't know if we should have took my team off the field. And, you know, another thing was Littell was the pitcher. And he had given up 1 home run that year in 114 innings to the second baseman at Milwaukee. And after that 19-minute wait, that was only the second home run he gave up all year. Now, Mark was a fantastic relief pitcher, and I'm not knocking that, but if we never had the Gossage, the Suter, the Todd Worrell, the Lee Smith there, and if you have a 5-game series, you generally get that dominant pitcher twice. If you lose a game in the bullpen, you're almost done. And I found that out. So the first thing I did when I went to the Cardinals, and when I was wearing both hats, I ended up with Raleigh Fingers and Bruce Sutter. I had to get rid of one of them, but I had 2 of them because I didn't know that I was going to be able to get the next guy the next day, you know. But anyway, I learned a lesson there. And 77 was a time that we had a season that we didn't start well. After 72 games, I think we were 36-36, and we ended up 102-60. We had on August 30th that year, Gene Mauch was managing Minneapolis, and Chicago was in the race, and Milwaukee was in the race. And Gene Mauch said, "There's not a team good enough to pull away." Well, I didn't put it on the bulletin board, but somebody did. I don't know whether it was Alex Zeke or the clubhouse boy or the Mickey, the trainer. I don't know, but it was on the bulletin board. Well, we proceeded to win 16 in a row. We played Oakland for our 15th and 16th with victories till 3:30 in the morning. That's the time we had the lightning and the rain delay. 7 people died leaving the ballpark. And the next night, the Mariners came in, and Doc Maddox shut us out 1-0. Then after that, we won 8 more in a row. And so we won 24 and 25. I think 24 out of 25. Texas, while we won the 16th, won 13 out of 15 and lost 2.5 games in the standings. We ended up winning 102. And I think they ended up winning 95. But the thing, Denny, it was the best team I ever managed, including the 82 World Champions here and the teams I managed, St. Louis, the 77 Kansas City Royals. I mean, the Royals were a heck of a team, you know.
Yeah, and then to this day, it's still the Royals' best team ever. So you're here from 1980, here being St. Louis, 1980 to 1990. Of those teams, which one was your best?
Well, the 85 team, I think, was my best. I mean, we won 101 games and probably could have won more. We clinched it and kind of, take the regulars out a few days and so forth. But I had 3 pitchers that were starting pitchers that were outstanding, and which really made it tough to go into a 3-game series with not thinking you might sweep or you win all 3. I'm talking about Andahar, John Tudor, and Danny Cox. And Joaquin won 20 games by the 1st of August, should have won 30. He never won any more, I don't think. And we played till Halloween, I think, till we got beat by the Royals. But the big thing was John Tudor started off that season 1-7 and ended up 22-8. And we had to go to a 4-man rotation because Forshey had some back problems. And I didn't really have a 5th starter, so I just called them in. I said, boys, when I came to the big leagues, I said, we pitched on the 4-man rotation. And I don't know if you guys can do it, but we're going to do it a little bit different. I said, in the old days, they used to pitch on Sunday, rest on Monday, pitch 15 minutes of batting practice Tuesday, rest on Wednesday, start on Thursday. I said, we'll just let you soft toss and stretch it out a little bit that second day, but be ready to go. And it was amazing how well they all pitched. With 3 days rest instead of 4, their control got sharper. And we had a dominant pitching staff. I mean, we really did. And we had a good lineup. We couldn't hit it very far, but we had Jack Clark and the one guy that I could sit in the dugout blindfolded and say when he's taking batting practice, because the others all sounded like they were hitting underwater. But we ended up winning a World Championship. We only hit 64 home runs. We played Milwaukee, and they hit 228. And we played baseball different, a way you couldn't play it now because of the lively ball and the bigger ball players and so forth. You couldn't play like that. And the ballparks are all smaller.
And the players are bigger.
The bigger the players, you'd have to have some power. But That's one thing I like the way Mike Matheny's managing the Cardinals. It's not a base stealing team, but it's a movement team. He hit and runs. He runs on all 3 and 2 counts. And you got to have movement. You got to get the infielders moving. And people think when I come to St. Louis, they start calling it Whitey ball. We did the same thing in Kansas City. We stole 200 and some bases every year and get thrown out 60, 70 times. And I came here, of course, and it was a bigger ballpark, and the Cardinals had finished last in home runs ever since they moved into the second Busch Stadium in 1966. And when I looked at that, and then we had some awful good hitters. I'm talking about Simmons, Hernandez, Templeton, on our ball club. But it would take us 3-4 hits to get a run. And I remember Butch Yakiman. He'd been the clubhouse guy 57 years, and he was ready to retire. And after that first year, we won it, and they took it away from us with the split season in '81. And he wanted to quit, and I said, "Butch, stay one more year. I want to get you, have a day for you, and I want to get you a World Series check." And he stayed, and we got the World Series check for him, and we got him a new Buick Riviera for his retirement. I got Gussie to raise his salary up a lot higher than it was for the first 56 years, so he would get a better pension, 3/4 of it from Anheuser-Busch. So that was big, you know. So I was really happy for him. But the big thing here was I had a relationship with Gussie that was just the opposite of what I had with Mr. Kaufman. The things that happened, he didn't care for me, and I didn't really care. It was just as much my fault it was his, and I understood that. And when I came to St. Louis, Gussie was about 87, and I guess he was about 82 when I got here. But the thing was, I was here 2 weeks, and he called me off the field, and he said he was back here in his office. He said, "What I got?" I said, "Well, you got a bunch of prima donnas that's overpaid that ain't never going to win. I had 3 of the top 10 salaries in base in the National League, and we were in last place." And he said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, I want a clean house. I want to go about a different way. I want to get our scouts in. I want to draft speed. I want to all right-hand hitters that have trouble hitting that can run. I want to try to see how many switch hitters we can make. And then I want to draft speed for a while. I want to see if we can make a go of it. Well, I went to the winter meetings. I traded 14 guys, and I got 11 back. That was in '81. And in '80, and that was the '81 season, we really won by 3.5, and Cincinnati by 6.5, and neither one of us got in the playoffs. But the big thing is, once we got down Lonnie Smith, we gave up 2 pitchers, Sorensen and Latin Kid, and the Phillies got the catcher from Cleveland in the deal, who caught there a long time. But then again, the icing on the cake was when Ozzie agreed to come to St. Louis for the '82 season. He kind of just put everything together. I called him the icing on the cake, and I had already had Suter in the bullpen. I had him signed for 4 years. We had Porter come over, who played very well, and Hernandez stayed, and he was a great player. Tommy, her, and Ozzie were great. Oberfeld in '82 played third base. I moved him over from second. And, Willie McGee came up here when David Green got hurt, and he just did a heck of a job. He was hitting .340, and we went into New York, and Steinbrenner almost fired his general manager because we got him, but we got him fair and square. I mean, they outrighted him when they signed Warfield, and we had 2 good reports, and we were going to draft him. The only thing I did, I was drafting 16th, and I had Joe McDonald, my assistant, called the general manager with the Yankees and tell him that what does he want for him? And he said, "Well, we need left-hand pitch." And I said, "Well, go through my major league roster and all the minor leagues and take anybody you want. I want Willie McGee." And so he took Bob Sykes. And when Willie went into New York hitting .345, and them writers, but there was 50 writers out there from all the newspapers and media and everything. And I thought, Steinbrenner was really hot about it, them losing Willie McGee. But they outrighted him. Somebody else would have taken him, but we hadn't got him,
All right, I read your book, and it was great. You're missing a great game. And you have some really, really good opinions and insights into the game. 2 or 3 things that you would like to see different. You mentioned the 4-man rotation versus the 5-man rotation. I don't know if that would factor into the mix, but just 2 or 3 things that would make our great game maybe even better.
Well, the first thing baseball should do now is get the rules the same. And you say, well, what do you mean? You shouldn't have different rules in the American League than you got. And I don't know, it might be a lot easier to have the DH. But you got 14 teams in the American League, and every one of the owners and general managers said a good time to go to the bathroom at a National League game is when the pitcher's coming up to bat. So 14 votes are going to go for the DH. Then you go to the National League, you get 16 votes. And the next thing you know, now the 16-14, that's an enough majority because of that. I tell you what they ought to do. The DH rules started in 73. And every manager that's managed at least one year since 1970 in each league, they should let us vote. And I don't know how many there would be, probably 75 to 100 that's still alive. I don't know. I don't know how they vote. And they should take it from us, what would be the best way to play. Now, the big thing, Denny, say that the pitchers got voted in, that the manager said that having the pitcher hit and having the Gibsons and the good hitters and so forth, the good fielders have the advantage. Where Catfish Hunter got 36 hits for Oakland and never hit again after the DH come in. And that could be. Now, how would you do that? I mean, you'd have to go to the Players Union. The American League pays 9 regulars, and the National League only pays 8. I know that the Players Union ain't going to lose those 9 salaries. The only way that I say it might happen, if they could get the union to say, all right, if the pitchers win by those managers voting, and we will use the DAs for 3 more years, because you got some guys in the American League don't have gloves, and Big Mo and so forth, and you'd have to wait 3 years so they could play out that contract. But if they signed them after that 3-year period, but then the pitchers are going to start hitting like in 2016 or 17. You understand what I'm saying? Now, how could you go to the union and get them to okay that? I'm thinking everybody wants to carry more than 10 pitchers now in the American League with the DH. You don't need it, but I know here they got 12 or 13 all the time. Tony always had that many, with 4 guys sometimes on the bench and maybe 2 day-to-day guys, so you don't have a bench. And the thing is, I'd say, well, if you okay that, we'll give you 27-man rosters. And by giving them 27-man rosters, they'd put 60 players a year on the pension plan that aren't on it. And they might buy that. That might be a thing. Now, you could go one way or the other. You could have them 27 could be high-priced guys if you're trying to win, but they could be 2 rookies. Well, the rookie salary is more than people used to make in the top payday. But the thing is, they might buy it that way. And you maybe could get that compromise before it's voted on. But that's the first thing I think should be straightened out. I don't think you can have interleague play. It's really tough for an American League team to go into a National League ballpark and have their pitchers hit and lose that bat. A lot of them, at least one of the bats, And I don't even see how. I don't like interleague play. I wish that the decision would have been made years ago where Kansas City would have came to the National League instead of Milwaukee coming in. I think that was a terrible mistake because you had us here. You got to remember the other thing, in Colorado, 600 miles away when they're good, but you'd have their traffic come in on weekends. I think it would have been a great, great natural rivalry, Cardinals and them, and even the Cubs, I think that was a terrible mistake. But, it was different when we had an 8-team league and everybody played 22 games with everybody. Yankees came to Kansas City for 11 games, and that was a third of their attendance, but it's not like that now. And with interleague play and everything that's happening, then the whole game has changed. Next thing, besides getting the rules the same, I think the restanding line should be from the inside of the third base bag instead of the foul line. I don't think anybody that's going to try to beat out a base hit or a swinging bunt or a bunt is going to run in foul territory. That's a dumb rule. I talked to Uberroth about it at the winter meetings. He said he was going to do it. He did put the umpires on the one roof, which I suggested. and it's turned out to be a good thing. But they never done anything to that resenting line. And you know yourself, the first thing you learn in geometry class is the closest distance between two lines is a straight line, 2 points. And you're not going to run in foul territory to beat out a ball down a chopped ball somewhere. That's never been changed, and it's awful tough now. Seems like that most of the things that are done by the commissioner's office is for money. And I'm not knocking Mr. Selig by any means, because you got 5 national games on every day that the owners are making a lot of money. It's a very popular sport here in St. Louis. It's just amazing how they pack people in here every night. And it's not attendance, it's actually tickets sold. But I saw a game here, I think it was last year, they had a rain-out game make-up, and they had 8,800 people and announced 39,000. But that was tickets sold. I said, man, that's most people I've ever seen the ballpark for 39,000. But, so that's kind of lying to the public a little bit, but that's the way it is. And, I look back at a lot of things, and I wish they'd do it a little bit, sometimes think a little bit more about on the field happenings. It's because we know television money's big, and that's why they pay the big salaries, and that's the only way they could pay them salaries. And that part of the game, Dennis, has really changed, and it's getting tough now. I remember when I came to the big leagues, we played doubleheaders every Sunday. And the blue law was in effect in New York and Baltimore. We couldn't start a doubleheader before 2 o'clock, and we couldn't start an inning after 6 o'clock. And the 2 years that I played in Baltimore, which means you had 2 doubleheaders at home each month, in the 2 years we only had 1 game that we had a continued later. And that's saying how fast we played. First of all, you had 30 seconds commercials between the time. The other thing was you had 20 minutes between games. And by the time the last out was made, whoever was the umpire say, okay, boys, we're starting in 20 minutes. Be ready to go. And you better go in and grab a sandwich and change your shirt and get back out there, So some of those things are changed a little bit. Now, they keep saying, I hear the umpires, hustle out, hustle in. All right, wait a minute. You got 2.5 to 3 minutes now between half inning. So you got that 17 times a game if the team don't have to hit in the last of the ninth. So you've already added an hour to the time of a baseball game before it's ever started. So it doesn't do you any good anymore to hustle in and hustle out, because you get out there and wait 2 minutes. It's just it's kind of a joke, but that's just the way it is, Denny. But so some of those things, I say maybe we ought to train PA announcers that as soon as that ball hits first baseman's glove or the outfielder's glove, next hitter rounds it right away and get them up to home plate, because they wait for the announcement. They got to get rid of the donut. They got to stick their necklace in their shirt and all that stuff. And they want to be announced and be nice walking up to home plate. That could help a little bit. But it's changed because of the commercials. You know that.
All right. Denny Matthews visiting with Whitey Herzog, Hall of Fame manager. Let me just run 3 or 4 guys by you. Just quick impressions of these guys. Roger Maris.
Roger was a very good personal friend. I played a lot of pinochle with him. I did a lot of goose and duck hunting with him. Played against him. Played in his 154th game in Baltimore. I played center field the night he needed a home run to tie Babe Ruth because of the asterisk that the Commissioner Frick had put on him. Roger was the kind of guy that most valuable players, 60 and 61 for one of the best teams in history, the Yankees at that time. Him and Murphy are the only 2 guys that won 2 MVPs awards that are not in the Hall of Fame. To break a record that was 37 years old with 61 home runs, and then to hold it for 38 years, and being a 5'2" ball player, which he was, and when he hurt that hand, lost his power, he really didn't have the snap in the bat and the power that he had. But he was a kind of guy that he didn't make friends easily. He, always was kind of questioned about, is this guy sincere? Is he trying to make... But once he knew what kind of guy you were and he could trust you, you couldn't have a better friend. And he was one of the best I ever had. I was a pallbearer at his funeral up in December. And so was Mickey, and so was Billy Martin, Johnny Blanchard, Hank Barr. And, I was 17 below chill index that day, and I'll never forget Mickey saying, Roger, you got us one more time. You live in Gainesville, Florida. What are you doing being buried up here? I was walking him in front, and it was cold.
It was North Dakota, wasn't it?
Yeah, Fargo. Yeah.
George Brett.
Well, when I'm in Kansas City, who's the best ball player you ever managed? I say George Brett. When I'm in St. Louis, I say Ozzie Smith. If I'm in Columbia, Missouri, I say both. And that way I stay out of trouble. George Brett never needed a manager. From the day I got there, and he was 21 years old, he knew how to play. He played with abandon. He played aggressively. And, I got fired finishing 3 games out in 1979. But George didn't play till June because the head specialist didn't operate on him. And the first swing of spring training, he had to be operated. So we finished 3 games out. We set the all-time attendance record for the Royals, I think, which still stands, 1979, 2,254,000 people. And but Roger needed a father. And he did have a father, but he needed a manager that could be a father. And I had to worry about him and talk to him. And, I taught him a lot of things. I mean, he always says I taught him how to drink, which isn't true. He used to drink a lot of sweet soda when I said, no, don't do that. You can go to the drugstore and get that, I tell him. But anyway, he's been a friend of mine and one of the best guys I've ever seen with the fans. So, I bet to manage 3 Hall of Famers, and it's amazing. Ozzie Smith and Bruce Sutter here in George. And those 3 guys were the best 3 guys I've ever managed to sign autographs for the kids out in the parking lot, never turn it down anybody. And all 3 of them were alike, and they're all Hall of Famers. So I was pretty fortunate. I got to manage a lot of good players.
They said Musial was the same way. He'd sign for everybody until it got dark.
I'll tell you something. Stan the Man, I spent a lot of time with him here. He'd come down and visit me when I managed, and the last 15 years, I would try to have lunch with him every week or 10 days. And the last 2 or 3 years, once he got 90, he really went downhill. And he lost Lil maybe 6 months before his death. And, everybody says the same thing. And not only was he a Hall of Famer, he was a Hall of Famer off the field. Well, you say that about a lot of guys. But you could look far and wide anywhere in the world to find a better person than Stan Musial. That's how great a guy he was.
And one more. I know he's a favorite of yours and maybe had influence on your managerial career, Casey Stengel.
Well, I remember when the Yankees fired Bucky Harris, and he'd won in 47 and hired Casey, and he was out of Oakland. He was kind of exiled. And George Weiss hired him, and they thought they were bringing a clown to the Yankees, and we know what he proceeded to do. Won 10 championships in 12 years, and beat Milwaukee, beat Brooklyn. They were pretty good clubs, and I didn't really know him till I went to the rookie school how to get service, and I I was amazed how much baseball he knew, how much he knew about fundamentals. He taught me things that I used as a manager. Jumps off the bases that you wouldn't think about, how to pick up a ball off the outfield fence, where to throw it, and so forth. And I played 5 years in a very good organization, the Yankees, and they taught you pretty well how to play fundamentally. And the one thing they always did, they were good base running teams. They'd first and third you to death. They were good defensive ball clubs. But Casey, I remember one thing he told me. He said, I got a team that can win 92 games. That was out of 154 at that time, and so does Lopez. I'm going to figure out how to win 97. And that's when he'd get into the fundamentals. He'd take you around the bases and from the dugout where the base running starts and around. And people thought he was funny, but he walked me down that third base line, I bet you 40, 50 times every day, and I was able to teach it later on when I instructed young kids. Gene Mock gave me a great compliment. He said, how comes your team scores from third base faster than everybody else? I said, we work at it. And we worked at it every day in spring training. I always had somebody over there pushing them down that line, how to get that jump on contact. And a lot of guys want to do it. They don't do it. They do it 90%. They don't do it 100%. when they're doing it, and they got to practice it, because I want to tell you, if you get the proper jump off third base, and that infielder, second base or shortstop, and third base, that has to go one step to his left. If you get the proper jump, they're not going to get you at home. And that's why when you got a running team, you can go on contact all the time with one out, because the next guy can steal second if he's on first. So we had a little bit different, but that's what I got to tell you one story about it. I never could figure out why Casey spent more time with me in the Yankee camps and so forth than he spent with Mantle or Maris or Hank. And finally, I read a book about great managers, and it was talking about Casey when he played for McGraw. And the third baseman was Buck Herzog. And I finally figured out that Casey thought I was Buck's grandson. And he'd say, "Hey, how's Grandpa?" I say, "He's doing great, Casey." And once I figured it out, then I seen why I was his pet.
That is great. You had a great, well, you do the whole routine about what he told you.
Yeah.
Going around the bases. What? Give that. That is super.
Well, his problem was, where base running starts in a dugout, and you ought to be watching the pitchers move if they do something and so forth, and how important it is when you get to second base as you're halfway home, and how to look at the defense. And then, he'd get you over at third, and then he'd be talking about that walking lead, and then he'd take you down the home plate, and his last thing he'd say, "And that's where I want you when you play for me." He said, "Crossing home plate." But he did that all the time, and boy, I want to tell you something. He could teach base running.
Whitey, this has been wonderful. I think we could go another 2 or 3 hours, but it's always great to see you, and this was a lot of fun.
Well, my years in Kansas City were nice. We had a good ball club, and the Royals were very popular at that time, and the Chiefs run the downgrade a little bit. I think that's why our attendance got up. I've always liked to see the Royals and the Chiefs do well at the same time and see how much support both of them could get, because it's been a city where it's either one or the other, it seems like. And I think now it's growing, and the entertainment dollars are out there, and the fans love the Royals. It's not like it's a stranger in town anymore. I remember in '64 when I scouted for the A's, and I'd get out in Oklahoma and Arkansas and northern Texas, everybody talked about the Cardinals, and they didn't know much about the A's, So there's a lot of people. When I go down in the Branson area and go fishing in the state, and I'm throughout the state, the Royals got a lot of fans now, and I just wish that they could put it all together. I think their pitching this year is a lot better than it's been in the past. Hopefully now some of these young guys start hitting a little bit better, because they're very competitive, and I wish my best in the world to David Glass.
That was great. And it's timely, because you're talking about a Royals Hall of Famer and a Cardinals Hall of Famer, Whitey Herzog. We are getting to the end of our rain delay before the Royals and the Cardinals in Game 2. And let's pause here for station identification on the Royals Baseball Network. It'll be Noah Cameron pitching for the Royals today, and right-hander Kyle Leahy for the Cardinals. And we'll have more from Busch Stadium right after this.
The Royals know the game isn't over until the very last out.
Back onto the track, at the fence, it's out of here! The Royals win the game!
The University of Kansas Health System applies the same relentless approach to treating their patients. Health system teams solve complex issues, advance medical research, and save lives. Make the right call for your care. Learn more at kansashealthsystem.com/Royals.
It's a beautiful day here at Kauffman Stadium, wouldn't you say, Carl?
Perfect for baseball, Bob.
We are looking at skies as blue as a home run berry Frazzoni with Fanta Blue Raspberry, and an all-around energy as exciting as getting lunch at Quick Trip.
Stopped at Quick Trip today, Bob?
Sure did, Carl. Got a Frazzoni and a hot dog. Tastes like a home run, Carl.
Sounds like a home run, Bob.
Leave the metaphors to me, Carl.
Will do, Bob. For the Royals starting lineup.
Get your favorite snacks all season long at Quick Trip, proud partner of the Kansas City Royals.
At Hawthorne Bank,
Business banking is built around you. With fast decisions and local support, we make managing your finance simple so you can focus on running your business. Our experienced team works with you to create solutions that align with your...
Puedes ser el dueño de grandes momentos del béisbol. MLB Auction te permite participar en la subasta de bates, bolas y jerseys autografiados, con artículos de tus equipos de grandes ligas favoritos, leyendas y jugadores. Visita auctions.mlb.com.
Gosh, we've gone to Sea Dogs games since we were kids.
I've been coming to see the Sea Dogs for the last 30 years. Great experience.
Everybody here is just bends over backwards to help people out and wish the world was like it is right here at the ballpark.
We've always wanted to be more than just a baseball team. We want to be strong, active, contributing members of the community. And I think that effort is seen by the people and the fans, and they want to support that effort.
The captain, Derek Sanderson Jeter, is one of the winningest players in Major League history. He was wearing these very batting gloves when he notched one of those most memorable hits, the 3,000th of his career.
Are we supposed to spit in them like they do the batting gloves?
No spitting. This is a non-spitting museum.
He's just the second player in history whose 3,000th hit was a home run. The first was a former teammate from the Yankees' 1996 World Series championship team. But before he began his Cooperstown-bound career, Bonds would cross paths with another future Hall of Famer. September 6, 1995, the Iron Man played his 2,000th 131st consecutive game, surpassing the unbreakable record of the Iron Horse.
Now that's how you pass the torch. Go to baseballhall.org to plan your visit to the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum in Cooperstown, New York, and catch every episode of Hall of Fame Connections on MLB.tv.
Jose Fermin. Batting sixth at second base is Thomas Sajasi. Hitting seventh in left is Nathan Church. Batting eighth and catching is Pedro Pajes. And hitting ninth in center field is Victor Scott. So Wynn at short, Herrera is the DH, Walker is in right, Burleson is at first, Fermin is at third, Sajasi is at second, Church is in left, Pajes is catching, and Scott is in center field. And here come the Cardinals emerging from the first base dugout. So it'll be Kyle Leahy for the Cardinals and Noah Cameron for the Royals. And we also have an afternoon game tomorrow before the Royals pack up and head back to Kansas City, and that'll be Stephen Kolek going up against right-hander Andre Palante. And then the Royals have a really long homestand coming up. Boston Red Sox will be in town next weekend. It'll be the Seattle Mariners, which goes into Memorial Day weekend, and Memorial Day will be the beginning of a 3-game series with the Yankees. So the Royals are hoping to bounce back today after losing last night 5-4. Royals have now lost 5 in a row. They have lost 7 of their last 9. And the Cardinals, who are supposed to be in a complete rebuild, are off to a tremendous start. They are 26-18. They have won 12 of their last 17 games. And Denny, I must say, it never gets old listening to you and Whitey Herzog tell stories about the Royals.
I think that conversation lasted about 45 minutes or thereabouts, maybe 50. It could have gone on another 2 hours.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't have slowed down. I wouldn't have either. We just barely tapped the surface. But boy, is he fun to talk to.
His memory is incredible. Wow.
Yeah, that's the thing that, and he would say something happened 17 years ago in the 5th inning in Boston, and a balk allowed the Royals or whoever it was to score the winning run. Look it up, and it would be exactly that. I mean, unbelievable.
The number of outs, who was on base, right?
Who was broadcasting. Yeah, he was something. Well, here we go. Michael Garcia first up to face the right-hander Kyle Leahy. Michael hitting 265, and here we go. The first pitch of the game is popped up. Short, very short right field, and out goes the second baseman to JC to make the play, and that's how we start. So Michael Garcia still fighting a bit of a slump.
And the first pitch is presented by Simply Fuel. Find Simply Fuel protein balls at Costco, Sam's Club, Walmart, and Target, or at simplyfuel.com.
So now Bobby Witt Jr. Bob hitting 309 with 7 home runs. His hit total is now 55. He was 2 out of 5 last night, a double included. Leahy's first pitch on target, strike 1. Overcast, the lights are on. Not much wind, not even a breeze to speak of, and now the next pitch to Witt, and a fastball misses away. 23 RBIs for Bobby Witt Jr. He's now 6 out of 16 on the road trip. Breaking ball that found the zone. Witt was tempted to put a swing on that pitch, but he laid off. Now a fastball high in the zone. Vinny Pasquantino will be next. .55 hits for Bobby Witt Jr. And that ranks 3rd in the big leagues. He's 5th in stolen bases. 13. Strike called. So a full count on Bobby Witt Jr. after Michael Garcia made out on Leahy's very first pitch. So Witt working 28-year-old Kyle Leahy, and the next pitch is off the zone, ball 4. Bobby Witt Jr. draws a walk. That brings up Vinny Pasquantino, hitting right at 200. In fact, the Royals' 3 and 4 hitters, Pasquantino and Perez, are both hitting exactly 200 for the season. Witt a big lead. Pasquantino squares as if to bunt, pulls the bat back and takes a strike. So 13 steals for Witt. We'll see if he has that in mind with Pasquantino up there. Not on this pitch, and a sharp ground ball. Fair ball. Stepped on first, Burleson. Witt's at second base. Burleson was tempted to throw, but Witt was so close to second base. It would have been foolhardy because Burleson's throw might have hit Bobby Witt right on the shoulder and deflected on into the outfield, and then they're watching Witt take third base. So they get the out at first. Good decision by Burleson. And now it's Salvador Perez with the runner at second and 2 out. And he goes after the first pitch and hits a popper out into right field. And Walker is right there to claim it. And so 9 pitches for Kyle Leahy. Gives up a walk, but no runs. And after half an inning.
I'm Jonathan Mayo, and for more than 20 years, I've traced the path of baseball's rising stars, navigating the back roads of the national pastime and basking in the glow of small-town America's spirit, where the team is woven into the fabric of everyday life, where it's more than just a game. It's a celebration of the people, the traditions, and the culture that give these places their soul. This is Grassroots.
They say it's a game of numbers, pero el flow es completamente otra ciencia. Mi trabajo es sencillo, cachar ese ritmo que solo nuestra gente tira y regarlo por toda la temporada. Flow mayor is where all those rhythms meet, porque el flow no es de un solo jugador, es de un corillo entero que prende estadio. De San Diego a Santo Domingo y cada parada en el camino. Cuando estamos activos, la liga sube de nivel. Esto es Flow Mayor.
855-646-3600.
Noah Cameron ready to go to work on the Cardinals lineup. And the first trio to face Cameron will be Mason Wynn, Ivan Herrera, and Jordan Walker. Mason Wynn a double last night. He's hit safely in 3 of his last 4 games against the Royals. He went 1 for 5 last night. He also struck out twice. So Noah Cameron making start number 8 this year, and the lefty's first pitch is a strike. For Cameron, this is career start number 32. Noah's record at the moment, 2 wins, 2 losses. Wynn takes a hack at a fastball, fouls it off, and Cameron jumps ahead of the hitter. No balls, 2 strikes. Cameron last pitched last Sunday night against the Tigers. He did not factor in the decision. Pitch is high, 1-2 on Mason Wynn. Royals lost that game to the Tigers last Sunday night, 6-3. There's a fly ball out into short left center field, and a dive and a catch by Collins. Standing right beside him and helping him to his feet. Yeah, Kyle Isbell. And Kyle just said, yeah, you've been watching me, haven't you? And that's the way you do it. You dive, you capture it, and you make sure when you hit the ground, the ball stays in your glove. Well done, 1 out. Up comes Herrera. He's the Cardinals' DH. .264 batting average. First pitch to him is a changeup outside. Noah Cameron, rather quick worker. Back he comes with a breaking ball that's down and in. That makes the count 2-0. This is the middle game of the series. Finale tomorrow afternoon. Cardinals victorious game 1 last night. And a high twisting foul near the railing on the third base side, and Garcia looking for room, but it's back about 8 or 9 rows. Well out of play. We count 2 balls, 1 strike on Ivan Herrera. Herrera 1 out of 4 with a strikeout last night. Herrera has hit safely in each of his 7 career games against the Royals. And he's hitting .423. He's 11 out of 26. So he's handled Royals pitching pretty well in the past. Now he takes a strike. And the count is even at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Jordan Walker to follow. Next pitch is sliced down the right field line, slicing away from Caglione. It's a fair ball into the corner, and the umpire at first base is waving home run. Oh, a double. It bounced into the. No excuse, but we can't see the right field corner.
No, we can't.
The stands jut out. So.
Or the left field corner.
Or the left field corner for that. We can see the center field corner very well. So it's a ground rule double for Herrera. Continues to handle Royals pitching pretty well. And now here's Walker, who's handling all pitching well, and a ground ball into left field for a hit. But Herrera will go no further than third base because he had to make sure that ground ball, which was just perfectly placed between Witt and Garcia, once it got into the outfield, then and only then could Herrera take third base. So a double and a single, and now the play that Collins made on Mason Wynn, first hitter up in the inning, is mighty big. Now Alec Burleson. Burleson hitting .276. Now the Royals look for a double play. Noah Cameron brings it home and misses the outside corner. One ball, no strikes. Check of the runners. Now the 1-0 pitch. Left-handed batter swings and just barely nicked it. 1 ball, 1 strike. So left-handed hitter, left-handed pitcher. Now the delivery and a line drive into right field. Caglione moves over to make the catch. Fires the ball back to the infield, and here comes Herrera to score. So Burleson makes out, but a productive out, putting his team in front. Walker staying at first base on that sac fly RBI. So they convert. A 1-out double by Herrera. Now up comes Jose Fermin. Fermin playing third base in this game. He's hitting .244 with 1 home run. In comes a pitch and a swing and a miss. Jose Fermin, very versatile player. He can play several different positions. Cameron's next pitch to him is a high fastball. We are in the first. 1-0 St. Louis. Fastball swung on, fouled off. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Cameron making his 3rd career start against the Cardinals. He faced St. Louis twice a season ago in his rookie year. He's pitched well, but he's 0-1. To check it first. Walker has a very safe lead. Now timeout just as Cameron was starting his motion toward home. Ryan Additon, the home plate umpire, called time. It was asked for by Fermin, but boy, I'll tell you what, when a pitcher is that far along, the hitter should not get the timeout that he just requested. But he did. And the count is 1-2 with the runner at first. And a throw to first. And Walker, as I said, very conservative lead. He was only about a step and a half off first base. One and two. Count to right-hander hitting Jose Fermin. After checking Walker, in comes a pitch, and it's grounded up the middle. Backhanded by Massey. Flips to Witt for the force at second on Walker, and that's the inning. The Cardinals take advantage of the
Te encantan los jugadores. Te encanta el juego.
¡Y se fue!
Ahora puedes ser el dueño de grandes momentos del béisbol. MLB Auction te permite participar en la subasta de bates, bolas, jerseys autografiados y más, con artículos de tus equipos de grandes ligas favoritos, leyendas y jugadores agregados toda la temporada. Cada artículo es autenticado por MLB para asegurar que lo que llega directamente a tu hogar es original. ¿Quieres una parte del juego? Visita auctions.mlb.com.
They flip with the glove. That was not a good idea.
All he needed to do was try to get the lead guy by giving him a nice, easy feed.
No, stay on your feet. No. I thought he was going to stay on his feet.
Uh-oh. The Goose did not know that the game was starting. Maybe the Goose thought it was 6:45 first pitch time.
Oh, man, off the glove and off the dome. He's saying, oh, man, what happened? It's a moment that he'll never forget, and that'll be on the blooper everywhere.
Year, baseball salutes our service members and their families. To help serve those who serve us, visit MLBtogether.com. And so to the second inning we go. 1-0 St. Louis. Carter Jensen leads off against Kyle Leahy. Leahy in the first inning walked Witt, but the Royals stranded him on base, and now his first pitch is just a little bit outside, ball 1 to Carter Jensen. 31 hits for the Royals rookie catcher. Swing and a foul ball straight back. And 1 ball, 1 strike. Jensen's average 242. He's homered 6 times. He's driven in 19. Fermin, the third baseman, playing where the shortstop normally would. This pitch is a little bit low, and the count is 2-1. Back comes Leahy with a pitch down and in. Ball 3, 3-1. Caglione to follow, and then it's Isaac Collins here in the Royals second. Kyle Leahy's next pitch on the outside corner, strike, full count. Carter Jensen 2 out of 4 with an intentional walk last night. One of his hits a double. He also drove in a run. Left-handed batter hits a high drive into left center field, but playable. And over goes the left fielder Church to make the play. And that's 1 down. That brings up Caglione. 4 home runs, 8 RBIs for Jack Caglione. Batting average .238. So Leahy gets another left-handed hitter. First pitch is right in there for a strike. Cardinals defense on the infield playing Caglione almost exactly as they played Carter Jensen. Leahy brings it home and pitches a little bit outside. Kyle Leahy's father, Tim, played college basketball at Kansas State. And he had an uncle, his name was Thomas, and he pitched in the Atlanta Braves organization in the early 90s. Ground ball headed for right field, and that's a hit. So Caglione rolled one right between Sajasi and Burleson. And the Royals have a runner with 1 out, as they did in the first inning. So now the switch hitting Collins. Isaac hitting .225 with 27 hits and 3 home runs. Collins last night 0 for 2 with 2 walks. And he looks at a pitch just off the plate. One to nothing St. Louis. We are in the second. Off speed and a strike. Collins hitting in the 7 spot. Isaac on this road trip, which started in Chicago, just 1 for 12. He bangs it into right field. Walker to his left runs it down, and hustling back to first is Caglione. Collins hit it well, but Walker, as soon as the ball left the bat, he was on his way toward that corner, running to his left side, and really made it look easy. 2 years ago, Walker probably would not have made that play. He came up as a third baseman. That didn't work. They put him in left field. That failed. And finally, after a lot of hard work defensively, he's very good in right. Now Michael Massey. Michael takes a strike. Massey hitting .210. Hungry for a hit. He was 0 for 5 last night. Runner at first, 2 down in the second. This pitch a little bit low and inside, a breaking ball from Leahy. Leahy making his 9th start of the season. He's 4 and 3. Swing and a miss. Massey looked like he was taking a shot toward left center field. And now down in the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. check at first and a throw to first. Diving back, Jack Caglione. Pages sets the target for his pitcher, and a line drive into center field, sinking, and it's going to drop for a hit. And runner to second and holding. So a couple of singles. Caglione with one out, and now Massey with two away, and up comes Kyle Isbell. Isbell with 29 hits, 3 of those home runs. Isbell 1 out of 5 last night, but made a sensational diving catch in center field to save the game at the time. That was in the 9th inning. Pitch is made and a fastball right on target, strike 1. 10 RBIs for Izzy. He is 3 out of 13 on the Royals' current trip. Runners first and second, 2 out. Leahy's next pitch to Isbell misses high and away. For Leahy, a win today would give him a career single-season high 5 victories. And he's won a couple in a row. There's a swing and a miss. So Leahy trying to stretch his winning streak to 3. Now he has the advantage on the Royals' number 9 hitter. 1 and 2 on Kyle Isbell. Caglione at second, Massey at first. After checking the runner at second, brings the pitch in, and it's a breaking ball in the dirt, and Pages blocks it. Leahy now is going to throw his 31st pitch here in the second inning. 2 on, 2 out, 2-2 the count. Leahy to Isbell, very high and outside. That one never even threatened the strike zone. Now the Royals have the additional offensive advantage. The runners will be on the move. 3 balls, 2 strikes. 1-0 St. Louis. Isbell takes high, ball 4, and now they're loaded for Garcia. So Michael Garcia, who is now hitless in his last 11 at-bats, is due to square one up. If he does so, the Royals could grab the lead. So bases loaded, 2 out, second inning. See if Garcia goes after the first pitch. He does not, and the pitch found the inside corner, and the count is 0-1. Michael Garcia has driven in 18 runs. You can add to that total here. This pitch low and outside, and that evens the count at 1 ball, 1 strike. Signal given. The right-handed pitcher brings it home. And a ground ball to the left of the shortstop. He's got it. Flips to second. Windus at JC for the force out at second. And the Royals load the bases. But
Berger lines it to center. Waldy's got it! Ryan Waldschmidt with a diving catch in left center.
What a fantastic play by Ryan Waldschmidt.
That's crushed. Left field, ain't no doubter. It's on its way. It is gone. Over the Crawford boxes, off the wall, Julio.
That was 106 off the bat. What a night for Andres Jimenez. That is the first 2-home run game of Andres Jimenez's major league career.
How about this? 5 strikeouts in a row for Weathers. Swing and a miss. That's the 9th strikeout for Ryan Weathers. Quite an outing for Ryan Weathers. Had a no-hitter going into the inning.
He swings away, launches a ball down the line. Fair ball. Goodbye, 3-run homer.
How about you, Kobe Mayo, huh?
Boys, he fired up, and that had to feel good, folks.
Te encantan los jugadores. Te encanta el juego.
¡Y se fue!
Ahora puedes ser el dueño de grandes momentos del béisbol. MLB Auction te permite participar en la subasta de bates, bolas, jerseys autografiados y más, con artículos de tus equipos de grandes ligas favoritos, leyendas y jugadores agregados toda la temporada. Cada artículo es autenticado por MLB para asegurar que lo que llega directamente a tu hogar es original. ¿Quieres una parte del juego? Visita auctions.mlb.com.
They say it's a game of numbers, pero el flow es completamente otra ciencia. Esto es Flow Mayor.
Four-pack. Take care of everything. Make your ballpark experience a breeze. So grab your pack at Royals.com/Sunday. The Cardinals bat for the second time. They scored one in the first. Thomas Sajasi hits a line drive into left field, but overcomes Collins to make the catch. So Thomas Sajasi, who had really in a serious slump, lines out to left field. Isn't that always the way when you're having problems offensively? You do get a pitch you can handle, hit it hard, but right at a defender. And Sajasi now is 0 for his last 30. One pitch, one out, and left-handed hitting Nathan Church looks at strike one from Cameron. 244 Church batting average, 5 home runs. The 0-1 pitch is swung on and foul tipped. Cameron getting one quick out and now 2 quick strikes on the next hitter, Church, and a breaking ball low and outside. Nathan Church. So it's a lefty-lefty matchup. And Cameron rocks and deals. And a fly ball into the gap in left center, but overcomes Kyle Isbell to run it down. And there are 2 men out. So Cameron perhaps on his way to a rather easy inning. Here is Pages hitting .211. We're in St. Louis and coming at you live from the IBEW Local 124 broadcast booth. First pitch right in there, strike one. And now Pages trying to slow Cameron down, asks Ryan Addison, the home plate umpire, for timeout. Right-handed hitting catcher takes a swipe at the next pitch and comes up empty, and the count's 0-2. Base is empty, 2 out. Next pitch wide of the target. Pedro Pages. Last name spelled P-A-G-E-S. Looks like Pages. Ground ball to Witt to his left, and from behind second throws to Pasquantino, and Cameron does have a very quick and efficient inning number 2. The end of 2 innings.
Te encantan los jugadores. Te encanta el juego.
¡Y se fue!
Ahora puedes ser el dueño de grandes momentos del béisbol. MLB Auction te permite participar en la subasta de bates, bolas, jerseys autografiados y más, con artículos de tus equipos de grandes ligas favoritos, leyendas y jugadores agregados toda la temporada. Cada artículo es autenticado por MLB para asegurar que lo que llega directamente a tu hogar es original. ¿Quieres una parte del juego? Visita auctions.mlb.com.
We have a couple things out here for the first acknowledged unassisted triple play. And Cy Young said, Neil, where are you going? He said, 3 outs.
Neil Ball had a fairly short career as a big leaguer, but continued playing in the minors, where he encountered true baseball royalty.
Now we're going to connect to Babe Ruth.
He dominated the game like no one else had before.
I'm holding Babe Ruth's bat.
During a 1934 baseball barnstorming tour of Japan, Ruth faced 17-year-old pitcher Eiji Sawamura. Sawamura became a hero in Japan, and the Nippon Professional Baseball League's version of the Cy Young Award bears his name. Maeda won the award in 2010 and again in 2015, when the runner-up was Shohei Ohtani.
First pitch crushing! Oh, man!
like the 3 outs of a triple play. It all connects.
Go to baseballhall.org to plan your visit to the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum in Cooperstown, New York, and catch every episode of Hall of Fame Connections on MLB.tv.
Members of the military who are standing and being acknowledged. This is Military Appreciation Weekend, and after the national anthem today, we had a flyover. Bobby Witt Jr. will lead off the Royals third. He walked in the first inning. Here's Leahy's pitch, and a breaking ball stayed up. Bobby was all over it, and he fouled it straight back. St. Louis scored in the bottom of the first inning on an Alec Burleson sacrifice fly. The Royals have stranded 4 runners in the first 2 innings. There's another high breaking ball, and that's fouled away. We use the expression often, a hanging breaking ball, which means the pitch didn't get down like the pitcher wanted to, and it becomes hittable. But sometimes the pitch is too high to do something with. There's another high breaking ball, and this one's lined into right center field for a hit. Walker comes over to cut it off, and Bobby Witt Jr. has a leadoff single and a 9-game hitting streak. And that single by Jr. and every Royals single this season earns a donation from Sun Life and the Kansas City Royals Foundation for Team Smile and their mission to improve the oral health of Kansas City youth. So Junior's at first, and now Vinny Pasquantino. Bobby's running. The pitch is a strike. The throw to second is on target, and Junior is out, going in head first and tagged out by the shortstop Wynn. He had the easy job. The difficult job was Pages throwing down to second, and he threw a strike. Pages has thrown out 30% this year coming into today. So now he has thrown out 11 of 34, and now 1 out and nobody on, and the pitch to Vinny is in for a strike, and it's 0-2. Vinny grounded sharply to the first baseman Burleson first time up, and now he lifts a fly ball to right field. Walker comes in and makes the catch, and there are 2 down.
Hitter Salvador Perez.
That caught stealing for Pages is his 10th, and that is the most in the major leagues. And now Salvi, and he takes a strike. Interesting stat, Denny. He is thrown out 10, but he has also had to deal with 34. Swing and a miss by Salvi, and the count is no balls and 2 strikes. So his percentage is good. It's not great. It's around 30%. So he's thrown out a lot, but they're also running on him a lot. Here's the 2-strike pitch to Salvi, and a fastball is high. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Every time he throws out somebody, there's a guy in the dugout, St. Louis side, named Yadier Molina with a little smile on his face.
Fouled away by Salvi. What was his career caught stealing percentage? Here's a 1-2, and a breaking ball catches the inside edge for a called 3rd strike. So the Royals got a leadoff single from Bobby Witt Jr., but because of the caught stealing, they've had
lead off for the Mariners.
Canzone. Deep left. You can't forget about it. Dom Canzone strikes twice on opening night.
Yeah, just an easy 109 exit view off the bat from Dom Canzone. 93 down and in. Crushes this ball. Same spot, right center.
Multi-homer game for Canzone. A one-run game now at the bottom of the seventh. Lester line on the home run ball, huh?
Farmers Care and Missouri Pig Farmers, proud to feed and fuel America's pastime. Learn more at mofarmerscare.com.
1-0 Cardinals on an Alec Burleson first inning sacrifice fly. And the Cardinals have Scott, Wynn, and Herrera coming up in the bottom of the third. In case you're wondering, and I know you are, Eric Guthrie discovered that Yadier Molina, over his very long big league career, threw out 41% of attempted base stealers, and that's in a 19-year career. 19 years. Victor Scott, speedy left-hand batter, steps in, and the pitch is swung on, grounded right side and through. So Scott is at first base for the top of the order.
Shortstop, Mason Wynn.
We were just talking about this last night, and the traditional number 2 hitter almost always was either a left-hand batter who could pull the ball or a right-hand batter that could hit it through the hole on the right side. And here's Wynn, a right-hand batter with a lot of room on the right side, and he takes a fastball for a strike. And that's when there were far fewer shifts, and you would have an infield at double play depth. And so if the leadoff man got on, you always had a number 2 hitter who could shoot it through the right side. Fastball is high, and the count is 1 ball and 1 strike. And that base hit for Scott, even though he was leading off the inning, it looked like he was trying to hook one through that hole. Vinny was playing in, trying to take away the bunt. Throw to first, and Scott dives back in safely. But now you have so much shifting. At the moment, the hole on the right side is enormous because Vinny's holding the runner, and Michael Massey is as far to the middle as the rules will allow. Here's the pitch. Foul tip on a changeup. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Mason Wynn.
An hour and a half ago, now Raboski was sitting right there where you are, and he and I were talking, and he said, you know what? You hardly ever see a ground ball up the middle go into center field for a hit anymore.
We're out of the era now where hitters are not assuming anything, but when the shifts began, you could tell hitters would hit the ball, and for their entire lives it was a guaranteed hit, and suddenly somebody's standing there. The pitch to Wynn is a called 3rd strike on a backdoor curveball, and Wynn hesitated in the box like he was thinking about challenging, and now he hits the road. And that's Noah Cameron's first strikeout. So 1-on-1 out for Ivan Herrera, who bounced one over the wall in the right field corner for a double. He went to 3rd on Walker's base hit and then scored the only run on Burleson's sacrifice fly. 1-0 St. Louis with 1 out in the bottom of the 3rd. Cameron comes set and pitches, and Herrera was taking all the way, and it's outside, ball 1.
Ryan Al Raboski said one other thing that made me kind of giggle. He said, you know, when I was playing and I was a relief pitcher and a closer, I was never the 8th pitcher on my team to come into the game. I was usually the second.
Fouled away, 1 ball, 1 strike. Fan just made a great one-hand catch to our right. And you really only had 1 or 2 dependable guys in the bullpen, and that's all you really needed. Because the starters went 7, 8, if not 9 innings. And if you had someone like Dan Quisenberry, he could give you 2 or 3 innings out of the bullpen.
And time was when only 1 or 2 pitchers, sometimes just 1. There was something called a complete game a few years ago.
Here's the pitch to Herrera, and it's outside, 2-1.
What do we have the other night at home? Something like 15 pitchers were used in both teams one game. I may be exaggerating that a little bit, but not much. It's like 1 pitcher per inning, both sides.
2-1 pitch is swung on and missed on a good changeup. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, I quote the Denny Matthews rule all the time, and that is the more times the manager points to his bullpen, the chances are greater that someone's not going to have it.
Yep.
Here's the pitch, and Herrera takes inside and almost hit him on the hands. And the count is 3-2. And we'll keep an eye on Scott over at first base with outstanding speed. He's talking it over with first base coach Stubby Clapp. He does not have a big lead. Noah looks that way, throws that way, and the runner takes off. Vinny's got it down to second to Massey, who's running back toward Vinny, and Massey is going to tag out Scott. So Scott gambled and went on first movement and gambled poorly, and so that will be a caught stealing. 1, 3, 4. And so 2 outs and 3 balls, 2 strikes on Herrera. Here's Noah's pitch, and Herrera swings and pops it up right side. Vinny is there waiting for it on the dirt, and he's got it. So the Cardinals bat 3 because of the caught stealing, and at the end of 3 in St. Louis, the Cardinals lead 1.
The biggest thing we're bringing is a brand new Tony Gwynn drop I did with his estate. So we just signed a deal at therealist.com to actually go through his entire archives, present them, and auction them off. And to announce it, we did this limited edition 1994 The Lost Season card. Because, you know, between August of 93 and May of 95, Tony Gwynn batted .406 in 162 games. So in the back, we have the stats of what could have been.
There's a shot into left field. Stanton on his way around to score. The Yankees are on the board. First, it's 1-0 New York. Bouncer headed up the middle, and that's going to get through and drive in a couple of runs. Cranked up and sent into the right center field gap. McMahon's going to score easily. They're going to wave Wills around. Plays to third. 5-0 New York. Another one head for no man's land, but Harrison Bader read it well. Former Gold Glover comes up to make a very nice catch for the guy they call Big G, who has driven in a run with the 3rd straight hit to open the 5th inning. Chopper for Jazz, hot shot, and he makes the catch. That got on there on a line, and he's telling Jose Caballero, "You see that?" I could watch Jazz Chisholm play. I mean, he plays with such joy. Only David Cohn, Ron Guidry, and Mel Stottlemyre had opening day starts of 6+ innings with 2 or fewer hits and no runs allowed.
Cup presented by Quick Trip. Get your tickets today at royals.com/promotions. That's a 6:10 game with the Yankees Monday, May 25th. One 0 St. Louis. Carter Jensen leads off the 4th inning. He led off the 2nd and flied out to left field. Facing Kyle Leahy, who comes to the plate, and Carter takes a curveball down and in, ball 1. Leahy has pitched 3 scoreless innings, and if you go back Over his last 2+ starts, he has given up 1 earned run in 13 1/3 innings. The pitch. Fastball strike over the outside edge.
I know you're familiar with a famous writer of years past from Los Angeles named Jim Murray. And he could be as sarcastic as any writer ever.
That's low. 2-1 on Jensen.
And he was in St. Louis for the All-Star game in the 60s, and he said, "The arch, the most useless, expensive piece of architecture ever invented or thought of."
Fouled away. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
He'd go to different cities, and he'd always find something just to tear into. He once said of Pittsburgh, the only trouble with Pittsburgh is that everything closes at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Fly ball center field. Scott is there, and he grabs it with 2 hands to take care of Carter Jensen. Yeah, he was great. One line I'll always remember, and it's both funny and sad, but there was a time, sometime in the 80s, I think, when there was just a series of fatal car crashes in auto racing. You know which line I'm going to say?
I think so, yeah.
Caglione swings and misses, no balls and 1 strike. And it was becoming a problem, and they were questioning safety and the speed of the cars and the skill of the drivers. Maybe there were some inexperienced drivers. I don't remember the context of it. Caglione takes high, 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, anyway, he was asked to go cover an auto racing event, and the beginning of his column said, "Gentlemen, start your coffins." Caglione hits a line drive into deep left field. Back goes Church, and he runs it down on the track. That, and just pick your baseball cliche, I will use a frozen rope, a trolley wire, whatever you want to call it. That ball was crushed, and the only thing Jack didn't do was get underneath it, and Church was already playing deep. So there are 2 down for Isaac Collins, who lined out his first time up, and he takes high for ball 1.
You want one more Jim Murray on the auto racing? He covered the Indianapolis 500, and there were a couple of fatalities in the trial runs, and then one during the race, and then after it was over, and then it was postponed by rain for a couple of days. And his column after the thing was over was, "You can get up off your knees, America. The Indianapolis 500 is over." But he had a sharp wit,
it
too.
might have been the same column. My quote.
It could have been, yeah, could have been.
2-1 on Collins. He lined to right in the 2nd inning. 1-0 Cardinals in the 4th. And the pitch is way outside. 3 balls and 1 strike. And if you weren't able to read Jim Murray, but you've lived in Kansas City the last 20 or 30 years, he was a lot like Joe Posnanski. That was one of Joe Posnanski's favorite writers. The pitch is swung on and fouled back, and it's 3-2 on Collins.
There were a lot of baseball writers back in the 40s, 50s, 60s who were very well known, very well read.
3-2 pitch is down and in, and Pages held it out there forever, hoping that Ryan Addington would call it a strike. He tried to frame it, which means take a pitch from outside of the strike zone and present it as if it was in the strike zone, but Addington called it a ball, and Collins is at first base with 2 down for Michael Massey. That's the 2nd. Make that 3rd walk given up by Leahy, and now Massey swings and fouls it at the plate. So similar to last night, the Royals have not scored, but they've had plenty of base runners. They had a 1-out walk in the 1st. They loaded the bases in the 2nd. They had a leadoff single in the 3rd, and now a 2-out walk in the 4th. Here's the pitch to Massey, and he swings and grounds it to the right side. A nice big hop for Sajaci, and he flips it to first, and that's in time to end the inning, and Massey is 1 for 2. To the bottom of the 4th in St. Louis, the Cardinals lead 1-0.
¿Te encantan los jugadores? ¿Te encanta el juego?
¡Y se fue!
Ahora puedes ser el dueño de grandes momentos del béisbol. MLB Auction te permite participar en la subasta de bates, bolas, jerseys autografiados y más, con artículos de tus equipos de grandes ligas favoritos, leyendas y jugadores agregados toda la temporada. Cada artículo es autenticado por MLB para asegurar que lo que llega directamente a tu hogar es original. ¿Quieres una parte del juego? Visita auctions.mlb.com.
All your favorite games from MLB Play are back, bigger, bolder, and better than ever. Test your skills with daily puzzles like MLB Pickle, the Ultimate Mystery Player Challenge, and Immaculate Grid, where stats and strategy collide. Then in Spinball, build your roster, take on your friends, and compete for the weekly prize. Or be the first to beat the streak and hit your way to the $5.6 million jackpot. Plus, the all-new Daily Walk-Off. Lock in your players by category for the walk-off win. The game's official home for games is MLB Play, only on the MLB app and MLB.com.
Just in 2 days. Visit royals.com/promotions. Red Sox, the Mariners, and the Yankees are all part of the Royals' next homestand. Here's the pitch to Jordan Walker, and he swings and misses at a changeup down. 1-0 Cardinals in the bottom of the fourth on Alec Burleson's sacrifice fly. Here's the one-strike pitch. Walker swings and fouls it back to the screen. No balls and 2 strikes. Walker's single to left in the first inning. That got Herrera to third, setting up the sacrifice fly. Cardinals have 1 run, 3 hits. The Royals have no runs, 3 hits, but the Royals have also received 3 walks. Walker swings and misses at a curveball down and in, and Noah gets him on 3 pitches. And that's Noah's second strikeout. And that'll bring up Burleson. His sac fly was to right and deep enough where Caglione, even with his arm, had no chance to get a DH Herrera, who's a catcher, coming down the line. Left-hand batter swings and chops it foul. Denny told you that Noah pitched very well against the Cardinals last year. He just didn't receive any run support. Here's the 0-1. And a slider's in for a strike. 0-2. Noah made 2 starts against the Cardinals. He was 0-1. The Royals were 0-2. But Noah gave up 1 run in 12 1/3 innings. Burleson takes a called third strike over the outside edge, and he delays before hitting the road, thinking about a challenge, but he will not. And that's back-to-back 3-pitch strikeouts. And after going through the lineup 1 whole turn without a strikeout, now Noah has struck out 3 of the last 4. Fermin swings and fouls it up the screen. Jose Fermin grounded out to second in the first inning. 1-0 Cardinals in the bottom of the fourth after they beat the Royals last night 5-4 in 11 innings. Here's the pitch, and Fermin takes a strike. Noah is a strike machine in this inning. He has thrown 8 pitches, all strikes. And the pitch is swung on and lined up the left field line, hooking into the corner, foul. So he was right on the edge of an immaculate inning. Here's another 0-2. Swinging a fly ball right center field. Caglione comes over from right, and he's got it. So it was not immaculate, but it was pretty close. 10 pitches, all strikes. And
you know, in Boston, every now and then, you'll do those throwback days where you bring out the big baggy jerseys, and the baggier, the better. When I broke into the league, everybody's wearing really baggy pants, and then as the years go along, I started wearing these skinny, mini, tight pants that look like they were painted on. So by the time I was with Boston, I really wanted to wear the baggier, the better. We just wanted to be flying around in the outfield there, having a good time.
All your favorite games from MLB Play are back, bigger, bolder, and better than ever. Test your skills with daily puzzles like MLB Pickle, the Ultimate Mystery Player Challenge, and Immaculate Grip, where stats and strategy collide. Then in Spinball, build your roster, take on your friends, and compete for the weekly prize. Or be the first to beat the streak and hit your way to the $5.6 million jackpot. Plus, the all-new Daily Walk-Off. Lock in your players by category for the walk-off win. The game's official home for games is MLB Play, only on the MLB app and MLB.com.
Puedes ser el dueño de grandes momentos del béisbol. MLB Auction te permite participar en la subasta de bates, bolas y jerseys autografiados, con artículos de tus equipos de grandes ligas favoritos, leyendas y jugadores. Visita auctions.mlb.com.
On a first inning sacrifice fly, Kyle Isbell will lead off, and here's Denny.
Okay, Ryan, and Isbell drew a base on balls his first time up. That walk loaded the bases, but Garcia rolled into a force out, and that ended that inning. So here we go in the fifth, and the first pitch from Leahy is high and outside. So Isbell, Garcia, Witt. If anybody gets on, Vinny Pasquantino. Outside corner strike with a breaking ball from Kyle Leahy. Next pitch is pulled foul. It was off speed, and Kyle Isbell was out in front of it. And the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Right-handed pitcher Kyle Leahy from Longmont, California, brings it home and a swing and a miss. So pitch from Leahy got Isbell swinging right over the top. Down he goes, and that's strikeout number 2 for the Cardinals right-hander. And now to the top of the order. And Michael Garcia takes a strike over the outer edge. Garcia's 0 for 2 and now 0 for his last 12. Going outside with the breaking ball. Garcia went 0 for 6 last night, and that snapped a 9-game on-base streak. Right-handed hitter takes just off the outside corner. Leahy ready to work, and a curveball strike. And it's 2-2 on the Royals leadoff hitter. One out, nobody on, 5th inning. Fastball, late swing, fouled off. Kyle Leahy, the Cardinal right-hander, looking for his 5th win of the season. In comes the pitch, and a line drive just over the glove of the third baseman. Garcia, thinking 2 bases, rounds first and heads for second with a double, and that snaps his 0 for 12. Let's pause right here for station identification. This is the Royals Baseball Network. We are coming to you from the broadcast booth in St. Louis. It's the IBEW Local 124 broadcast booth today. And quite likely tomorrow there's a pop foul out of play over on the first base side off the bat of Bobby Witt, who's been on twice. Bob walked in the first, single in the third. 1-0 St. Louis. Michael Garcia is at second base with the tying run. Witt trying to get him home. In the pitch. And it's on the outside corner with the fastball. And Bobby grumbling a little bit at the plate umpire, Ryan Additon. No balls, 2 strikes. Next one to Witt. Very high and away with a fastball. Final game of the series tomorrow. Stephen Kolek will go for the Royals, and Andrew Palante will pitch for the Cardinals. Now Leahy turning toward second base as Jose, the second baseman, was moving in behind Garcia. One and two the count on Bobby Witt Jr. Leahy brings it in, and a line shot into center field, but overcomes Scott to make the play, and he fires the ball back towards second, but Garcia able to scramble back, and now there are 2 men out. So Bobby Witt hit it hard, but right at the center fielder. Now it's up to Vinny Pasquantino. First inning, Vinny grounded to first. Third inning, flied out to right. So he has pulled the ball twice against this right-hander. Now Vinny needs to figure out a way just to hit the ball somewhere where no defender is and tie the game. This pitch is inside. And 1 ball, no strikes. Pasquantino sitting on 21 runs batted in. This pitch is a strike. You could see Pasquantino flinch as though he, out of the pitcher's hand, thought he would take a swing, but as the ball neared home plate, he decided against. And now the 1-1 pitch from Kyle Leahy. Lined into center field. Scott won't get that one. And here comes the run home. Garcia will score. And there is run batted in, number 22 for Vinny Pasquantino. And the game is tied at 1. So he figured out, I really don't have to pull it. I'll take a pitch down and away and whack it out into left center field where nobody is standing. So the sinking liner drives in Michael Garcia. Royals capitalize on his 1-out double. Now Salvi hits a liner, but it's caught by the shortstop Mason Wynn. Salvi hit it down toward the end of the bat. So the Royals get it tied. We go.
All your favorite games from MLB Play are back, bigger, bolder, and better than ever. Test your skills with daily puzzles like MLB Pickle, the Ultimate Mystery Player Challenge, and Immaculate Grip, where stats and strategy collide. Then in Spinball, build your roster, take on your friends, and compete for the weekly prize. Or be the first to beat the streak and hit your way to the $5.6 million jackpot. Plus, the all-new Daily Walk-Off. Lock in your players by category for the walk-off win. The game's official home for games is MLB Play, only on the MLB app and MLB.com.
This is where Caminero has to be able to get the pitch that he wants.
Oh, Junior hit that thing hard to center field, and that's Junior Caminero with a laser to center. He jumped all over it. It's 8-4 Rays, and it was loud.
Oh. I want you guys to appreciate the 114 plus miles per hour. This guy is an elite high ball, fastball hitter with the best bat speed.
Here we are, Arlington, Texas. This is the Graham Slam Burger. So 2 patties, brisket, caramelized onion, American cheese, ranch aioli, or ranch mayo, if you will.
Oh yeah, we're in Texas.
Yeah.
This
something that you definitely want to take a picture of and just put on the gram. I took a bite of it, but it still looks dope.
It's a burger that looks great, but also delicious.
Mark. So the Cardinals bat. Thomas Sajasi leads off. He lined out to left field his first time up. And Noah Cameron's first pitch buzzes him inside as he squared the bunt, and that chased Sajasi right out of the batter's box. One ball, no strikes. Sajasi, we mentioned that 0 for 30 that he is. There's a swing and a miss. And now the count is even, 1 ball, 1 strike. He's saddled with that 0 for 30 slump, and he thought maybe I'll lay down a bunt. Garcia very deep at third base, so it was a good idea. Now he swings and fouls it off, and that was an angry swing by Thomas Sajasi. 1-2 the count. Sajasi is not a big guy at all. He's more of a slap hitter. He'll hit the ball all over the field. He can play anywhere just about. Very versatile. One ball, 2 strikes. Nathan Church will be next. Now the pitch comes in tight. And it's 2-2. Sajasi is hitting in the 6th spot in the Cardinals batting order. And a breaking ball lined to left field, and there's his hit. He finally got a pitch up, and it was a hanger, and he put a good solid swing on it. Last time up, he hit the ball hard, but Collins in left field made a good play on him, so the frustration was mounting. So Sajasi's at first for Church. Nathan Church flied out to center field his first time up. So Noah Cameron now checks the runner at first and pitches. And Church takes a little bit inside, ball 1. Royals and Cardinals tied 1-1 here in the 5th inning. Fastball off the mark, and the count is 2-0. Sajasi is not a burner, but he has decent speed and takes a pretty good lead. Cameron a long look at first, and now delivers a little bit low, and the Royals think maybe that pitch was a strike and not a little bit low, so they'll challenge. And what they find with the challenge was it was not a little bit low. It was down in the zone, but it was in the strike zone. So it's not 3-0. It's 2 balls, 1 strike on Nathan Church. Sajasi now a little bigger lead. Not going anywhere, and a ground ball up the middle into center field it goes, and Sajasi not stopping at second. There goes the runner to second base, and Church with a hustling double, sliding headfirst into second base. So Sajasi first to third, and you could tell Nathan Church, his first step out of the box, he was thinking second base. He wasn't satisfied with a single to center to move a runner first to third. He was going to be in scoring position himself. So good hustle by the Cardinals, and now meeting on the mound is Cameron, who is rolling right along. He had permitted just 1 hit since the first inning. Now he gives up a single and a hustling double. So runners second and third, and now the Royals are going to play their infield about halfway, all four. And the batter is Pages, the catcher. And he takes low and inside, and Jensen did a good job keeping that pitch, which was down in the dirt, from going back to the screen. One ball, no strikes on the right-handed hitting catcher. And he pops one up. If it stays in play, the Royals are going to be in good shape, and it just does drift out of play. Back about 2 or 3 rows just this side of the Cardinals dugout. And it looked like when it left the bat, it had a chance of being played by either Jensen or Pasquantino, but no such luck, and the count is 1-1 on Pedro Pages. Runners second and third. Nobody out, 5th inning. 1-1 tie. And another pop-up, this one into very short right, and Caglione to the foul line to make the catch. And a runner going nowhere as Caglione gunned it in to Jensen on the fly. Pop Warner, the Cardinals third base coach, had a lasso on Sajasi. They know all about the strong arm of Caglione, and they weren't about to let Sajasi make an ill-thought dash toward home plate. Now the infield all the way in, and Victor Scott, who is a threat to bunt, is at the plate, and he takes a big swing, and he missed. He singled right between Massey and Pasquantino his first time up. No balls, 1 strike. Lefty against lefty. Ground balls picked by Vinny. The play is at home. The throw is not in time. Sajasi with a head first slide, running his left hand across home plate and making himself with a head first slide as small as possible so that Jensen could not apply a tag. The problem was Jensen received the throw from Pasquantino on his backhand. In other words, Jensen had to reach across his body to his right and had to spin all the way around before he could start the tag, and that allowed the runner to score. So runner at third, Mason Wynn at the plate, and he takes Cameron's pitch just off the inside corner. So fielder's choice, RBI, 2-1, St. Louis. Runners first and third. Cameron set and pitches. Big swing, but no contact. Mason Wynn, who is 0 for 2. So the Cardinals have broken the tie. So JC started things with a leadoff single. There's the 1-1 pitch, and it's 1 away. 2 balls, 1 strike. First and third. Infield back, looking for a ground ball. There's a pitch way high and outside. Well, Cameron's gone from one extreme to the other. Think back just an inning ago. He threw 10 pitches with 2 strikeouts and a fly ball to right. You know, all kinds of traffic here in the 5th inning. He throws to first. Victor Scott back safely. Scott has stolen 6. He may take off at any time. Meanwhile, 3-1 on the hitter. Mason Wynn hits a fly ball into deep enough, it would appear, left center field. The catch is made by Isbell, and the throw will go to second as Church will come home. So it's 3-1. So Wynn with his 17th run batted in. And the Cardinals take full advantage of the leadoff single and the double that followed. That brings up Ivan Herrera. Herrera has doubled and scored. That was back in the first inning. Last time up, he popped out to Pasquantino. So runner at first, 2 down, 2 in. There's a strike, a fastball. So just after the Royals score the tying run, the Cardinals answer with 2. Next pitch to Herrera's just off the outside corner. And 1 ball, 1 strike. Big lead at first. Now time call at home plate. I mentioned Victor Scott with 6 steals. He's been caught stealing 3 times. In comes the pitch, and the breaking ball well thrown and caught the inside corner. Herrera now is down to the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Scott inching off the bag at first, held by Pasquantino. Cameron thinks the lead is too big, and he guns the throw over to first. One and 2, the count to Herrera with Jordan Walker next. Pitch to the right-handed batter is low and inside. And now it's even, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Three to 1 Cardinals here in the bottom of the 5th. Cameron's next one is just off the plate. So full count. And Scott at first will be running. Wide open stance. Herrera hits right-handed against the lefty Cameron, whose pitch comes in and it's grounded to third. Nice big hop. Garcia sets, throws out at first, and the inning is over, but the Cardinals have scored twice. So at the end of 5.
Ground ball third, backhand pickup by Caminero and a throw on the money. Wow, what a nice play that was.
Slow little grounder. He's got to hurry. Out at first.
Well, that was well done on both ends. Hits the ball sharply, but a diving play by Isaac Paredes. Great defensive play at the hot corner. Coming on is Cam Smith, and he'll make a sliding catch. A little leather work shown on the infield and now the outfield to start this one.
Waldy's got it. What a fantastic play by Ryan Waldschmidt.
He's back to the track. He leaps at the wall, and he brings it down.
And O'Neal's belly flops into the catch.
Love that from T.O. right there.
Hernandez plucks it. Highlight play to start the game.
On the ground, Donovan dives, smothers it, pops up, throws up, dirt to first base. Racing over Zach Cole, and he slides and makes the catch. Lines one to left on a sliding catch. That one is fair. What a stop by Vargas.
Puedes ser el dueño de grandes momentos del béisbol. MLB Auction te permite participar en la subasta de bates, bolas y jerseys autografiados, con artículos de tus equipos de grandes ligas favoritos, leyendas y jugadores. Visita auctions.mlb.com.
Well, it was 1-0 St. Louis until the 5th, and the Royals tied it on Vinny Pasquantino's 2-out RBI single, but the Cardinals respond immediately and get RBIs from Scott and Wynn, and they lead 3-1 to the 6th inning, which is our Sonic Slam inning. Our contestant is Mark George from Lee Summit, If the Royals hit a home run out of the park in this inning, Mark wins $1,000. If the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Mark wins $25,000 from Sonic and the Royals. Carter Jensen pulls it foul into the crowd off to the right field side. He is the Royals' number 5 hitter today, but he has been their leadoff hitter. This is his 3rd straight at bat leading off the inning. And he swings over a changeup from Kyle Leahy, and the count is 0-2. Leahy has given up 1 run, 5 hits over 5 innings. The 0-2 is swung on and grounded to the right side, and Burleson got a nice big hop, and he'll take it to the bag himself. And Jensen is 0 for 3, and all 3 at-bats are leading off the inning.
Right fielder Jack Caglione.
So Leahy has now allowed 2 earned runs over his last 16 innings. Jack Caglione is singled to right and lined to left. And the first pitch is a fastball inside for ball 1. Back comes Leahy. And a breaking ball is hit very high in the air to right field, right at Walker. And now he jogs in 2 steps and makes a play. And there are 2 down in the Royals' 6th.
Left fielder Isaac Collins.
Isaac today is lined out to right, and he is walked. Got some Royals hitters today who have put an end to, you could call it a hitting slump, a mild hitting slump. Collins is trying to put an end to an 0 for 10. Here's the pitch. And a breaking ball's in for a strike. He lined to right in his first at bat and then walked. Michael Massey has put an end to an 0 for 9. Vinny has put an end to an 0 for 11, and Michael has put an end to an 0 for 12. Fastball is high. 1 ball, 1 strike, but that is nothing compared to Thomas Saggese, the Cardinals' second baseman, who put an end to an 0 for 30 in the 5th inning. Collins checks his swing and takes low on a changeup. 2 balls and 1 strike. I'll bet Saggese has some really good swings his next time up. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Collins swings over a slider. 2 balls and 1 strike, or 2 balls, 2 strikes. My point is, so often a hitter puts an end to an 0 for 20, 0 for 25, 0 for 30, whatever, and then they can breathe, and it always seems like they get a hit in the next at bat. We'll see. Here's the 2-2 to Collins, and he swings, and it's a ground ball back to Leahy, who gloves it off to his left side. He runs halfway to first and flips to Burleson to get the Royals 1-2-3 in the top of the 6th.
Pop quiz. How do you go from Captain Clutch to the Iron Horse through a milestone and a marathon? The answer is on Hall of Fame Connections.
The captain, Derek Sanderson Jeter, is one of the winningest players in Major League history. He was wearing these very batting gloves when he notched one of those most memorable hits, the 3,000th of his career.
Are we supposed to spit in them like they do the batting gloves?
No spitting. This is a non-spitting museum.
3,000! History with an exclamation point!
He's just the second player in history whose 3,000th hit was a home run. The first was a former teammate from the Yankees' 1996 World Series championship team. But before he began his Cooperstown-bound career, Boggs would cross paths with another future Hall of Famer. September 6, 1995, the Iron Man played his 2,000th 131st consecutive game, surpassing the unbreakable record of the Iron Horse.
Now that's how you pass the torch. Catch every episode of Hall of Fame Connections on MLB.tv and discover your own connections to the game at baseballhall.org.
And a $10 reloadable My Sonic card. 3-1 St. Louis, bottom of the 6th. Jordan Walker will lead off against Noah Cameron, who had given up just 1 run over the first 4 innings. The Royals tied the game at 1 in the top of the 5th, and then the Cardinals scored 2 in the bottom of the 5th. His first pitch is bounced to third on 2 hops, and Michael Garcia throws across the diamond to get Walker. He is 1 for 3. Noah had retired 10 of 11 going into the 5th. And then the Cardinals got back-to-back hits. And Noah came very close to getting out of 2nd and 3rd and nobody out. Burleson is 0 for 1 with a sac fly. And he takes outside, ball 1. With runners at 2nd and 3rd and nobody out, Noah got a fly ball to shallow right, and they weren't going to run on Caglione. Outside 2-0. And then with the infield in, Victor Scott hit a 1-hopper to Vinny. The contact play was on, and Vinny's throw to home plate was offline, and Sajasi scored. Here's the pitch, and Burleson hits it very high to center field. Isbell is camped underneath waiting for it, and he's got it for out number 2. And that, in my opinion, is your circle the scorecard moment. Victor Scott's ground ball to Pasquantino with the infield in. That should be an out at home plate. That's why you have the infield in. You're hoping for a ground ball and a play at the plate. But the throw was offline. So JC scored. Church went to 3rd, and then Wynn hit a sac fly to make it a 2-run 5th and give the Cardinals the lead, 3-1. Fastball is high to Jose Fermin. And Noah Cameron is 1 out away from a quality start. Here's the 1-0. Right-hand batter takes inside, 2 balls and no strikes. Fermin is grounded to 2nd and flied out to right. He's playing at 3rd base today. Here's the pitch. It is swung on and popped up behind home plate. Jensen runs to the screen, but it lands on the steps of the 4th row. Royals got a quality start last night from Michael Wacha, qualifying by way of 6 innings and 3 earned runs. That's the minimum. 6 innings or more, 3 earned runs or fewer. And now Cameron is 1 out away from doing the same today. The pitch, and Fermin takes a fastball strike over the outside edge. The Royals had entered last night 3rd in the major leagues in quality starts, but just 1 in their last 8. Breaking ball is down and in. 3 balls, 2 strikes. The Royals have 21 quality starts, and hoping for their 3rd in their last 10 games. Camera can get the out here, and the pitch. Swung on and missed. He got him with a high slider. Noah gets the Cardinals 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 6th inning. St. Louis leads 3-1.
Hi, this is Mark.
Welcome to the Jacob Young world.
That looked ticketed for right field.
Steer giving up the body.
Leaps up and makes the catch for the out.
He makes a sliding play.
Run down by Perkins.
Cole Young, a possible game-saving play. Very fine play. Jordan Beck.
Freeland made a marvelous catch and stopped that ball from airmailing into center field.
Durant's throw is in time.
This was beautiful.
Dives and he made the catch. What a play by Tyrone Taylor.
That was something that you will only see the best to ever do it pull off. And top shelf for Perdomo.
This is textbook. This is that throw to the second base side of the bag. That throw is there on purpose, so you can do that.
And
O'Hearn jumps up and makes the catch. That's Brian O'Hearn.
And he's got it. Holding into the wall.
Does he have it? He does! What a catch by Eli White!
He didn't even look to see where the wall was. He was going to catch that baseball.
The MLB app. Yeah, it's got game. This game. These games. All the games. Pre-game. Post-game. And everything in between. This is baseball your way. With real-time stats, scores, breaking news, and custom content that hits every time. Because you choose the teams and pick the players you want to follow. So when they catch it on the field, you catch it on the app.
He continues to pitch well in his first season in the big leagues as a starter. It's his fourth big league season, his first as a full-time starter, and he gave up 1 run, 5 hits over 6 innings. Graceffo will get Massey, Isbell, and Garcia. Here's the right-hander's pitch. And a fastball's in for a strike on Massey. He is 1 for 2. Graceffo got the win last night in the 11-inning game. He pitches out of a full windup and delivers a curveball low. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's odd today to see a reliever go to the full windup. Graceffo, he earned the win even though it's just 1 inning because he worked around 2 on and nobody out, setting up the walk-off in the bottom of the 11th. Massey hits a 2-hopper to first. Burleson will jog down the line to the bag, and Massey is out. He is 1 for 3. So this call to the bullpen is powered by Wholesale Batteries. Any battery, anytime, delivered anywhere at wholesalebatteries.net.
There's also another call that's interesting. Routine ground ball to the first baseman. And there's always somebody in the dugout that will yell, "Get over," every time. I think they'd probably do it if the first baseman had his foot on the bag when he received the ground ball. But it's just a habit, and it's good. I mean, sometimes pitchers throw the ball and think their job is done, and it's not.
0-1 on Isbell. And now he hits a line drive to left field. Church misread it, and it's going to sail over his head and go to the wall. And Isbell will jog into second base with a 1-out double. And Church, after throwing the ball back to the infield, just stood on the track and looked at his feet. Not that he was blaming
Michael Garcia.
his feet. He just thought it was a line drive right at him or in front of him. So he started in, and then it just sailed over his head. So that's a break. And the Royals have the tying run at the plate with 1 out for Michael Garcia, who is 1 for 3. And the pitch is inside for ball 1. I often wonder, Denny, about certain unique things about baseball, like the pitcher covering on a ground ball to the right side. Who was the first team? Who was the first coach who said, we got to figure out what to do on a ground ball to the first baseman? Michael hits a pop-up into shallow right. Here comes Walker, and he's got it. And there are 2 down. So that was a combination of a good pitch by Graceffo that was up and in on Michael, and just a bad choice for Garcia to swing. And that's about all he could do is pop up to shallow right. And now Isbell's at second with 2 down for Bobby Witt Jr. Bobby is 1 for 2 with a single and a walk. 3-1 Cardinals in the 7th. Pitch is inside, ball 1. Who was the first team that decided to bring the infield in when you needed an out at the plate? Who was the first team that figured out, hey, if we get a ground ball and you throw to second first and then to first, you can get 2 outs on 1 play? Inside to Bobby, and the count is 2-0.
Who invented double play depth?
Right. Which, up until about 10 years ago, is what every team did when you were hoping for a ground ball in a double play. 2-0 on Junior. And the pitch is swung on and grounded out to the second baseman, Sajasi. He fields and throws, and that's the inning, and nothing is made of Isbell's one-out double. It's time to stretch.
That brings in Jordan Walker.
Swing and a drive. Belted deep left. Walker got a hanger, and he crushes it into the upper deck of the Western Metal Supply Building. 2-0 St. Louis.
Timing is everything, and Walker Buehler has been almost perfect to this point. Alec Burleson puts him in the stretch, and what does Jordan Walker do? 425 feet later, 108 off the bat, and a beautiful sound to boot.
They say it's a game of numbers, pero el flow es completamente otra ciencia. Esto es flow mayor.
Workers today to get what you and your family deserve.
Cardinals are honoring a member of the military like we do at Kauffman Stadium in our salute to the armed forces, and this is Armed Forces Weekend, and that came today right after Take Me Out to the ball game. 3-1 St. Louis. Bailey Falter is off of the injured list, and he comes on to face Thomas Sajasi, Nathan Church, and Pedro Pajes. And this call to the bullpen is powered by Wholesale Batteries. Any battery, anytime, delivered anywhere at wholesalebatteries.net. And the first pitch is down and in, ball one on Sajasi, who put an end to an 0 for 30, 3-0 in his last at bat, and came around to score. Here's the 1-0 pitch. He gets jammed and hits a little bloop out to Junior, and the catch is made, and there is one away in the bottom of the seventh. So Noah Cameron, the best he can hope for is a no decision. He gave the Royals a quality start. Here's left-hand hitting Nathan Church, and he bunts, and Falter slides in between the mound and first base, and he grabbed it, but going from glove hand to throwing hand, he did not get a grip, and the ball dropped to the grass, and that will be a base hit for Church. If you're a left-hand batter, or right-hand batter for that matter, and you're bunting for a hit against a lefty, goal number one is to bunt it by the mound. If you can get it by the mound, it's a very difficult play for the second baseman unless it's bunted very hard, because left-handers fall off toward third, and Falter actually recovered nicely and slid on his knees to glove it, and he had time, but he was rushing the play and was not able to make the play. And now 1-on, 1-out for Pajes. Right-hand batter takes high, ball one.
I love the drag bunt.
Just get it by the mound, in between the mound and first base, and it's a base hit. Ground ball to third. Garcia's got it. Down to second one. Massey to first in time. So that's a nice return for Bailey Falter. He faces three, and the inning ends with a 5-4-3 double play. And we move on to the eighth. St. Louis leads the Royals 3-1.
Te encantan los jugadores. Te encanta el juego.
¡Y se fue!
Ahora puedes ser el dueño de grandes momentos del béisbol. MLB Auction te permite participar en la subasta de bates, bolas, jerseys autografiados y más, con artículos de tus equipos de grandes ligas favoritos, leyendas y jugadores agregados toda la temporada. Cada artículo es autenticado por MLB para asegurar que lo que llega directamente a tu hogar es original. ¿Quieres una parte del juego? Visita auctions.mlb.com.
They say it's a game of numbers. Pero el flow es completamente otra ciencia. Mi trabajo es sencillo, cachar ese ritmo que solo nuestra gente tira y regarlo por toda la temporada. Flow mayor is where all those rhythms meet. Porque el flow no es de un solo jugador, es de un corillo entero que prende estadio. De San Diego a Santo Domingo y cada parada en el camino. Cuando estamos activos, la liga sube de nivel. Esto es Flow Mayor.
Here's Trout, 2 for 2. And Trout jacks one to left field, way back there, and gone! Mike Trout turns back the clock again. He homers on back-to-back days to begin the baseball season.
You never want to take for granted watching a future Hall of Famer. He looks fantastic. The bat speed is there. Oh, man. I mean, and you get goosebumps thinking about how good that player is and how good he still is.
Left-hander Justin Rule. This call to the bullpen is powered by Wholesale Batteries. Any battery, anytime, delivered anywhere at wholesalebatteries.net. And with that, back to take us the rest of the way, here's Denny.
Okay, Ryan, it'll be Pasquantino, Perez, and Jensen to face the lefty Brule, spelled B-R-U-I-H-L. Benny Single drove in a run his last time up. He's 1 out of 3. Lefty against lefty, breaking ball right in there, strike one. Brule's fastball will sink. Got a good sinker. He'll cut his fastball. Got a breaking ball. There's a pitch just off the outside corner, and they're going to challenge the location of that pitch. It was called a ball. We'll see if it caught the outside corner at the knees or not.
Ball's overturned, pitch is strike.
And it did. So Benny finds himself down in the count 0-2. Salvi to follow. And the lefty Brule brings it in. And the breaking ball is low and outside. Brule last year pitched for the Toronto Blue Jays. The sweeping curve is low and outside. So the count has gone from 0-2 to 2-2. And the next one to Vinny is grounded to the right side. Get over, they yell from the dugout, and Burleson does just that. Steps on the bag ahead of Vinny Pasquantino, and there's one down. So now Perez, Salvi is 0 for 3. Facing the lefty Brule, who brings it home, and breaking ball right on target. Brule eyes the target, and the lefty's next pitch to Perez is swung on and missed. Brule has recorded a hold in 3 straight appearances, and that for him would be a new career high. Ground ball to shortstop. Mason Wynn plays it He has a very strong arm, throws out Salvi, and it's 2 up, 2 down on ground balls. Now Starling Marte emerges from the Royals dugout, and he's going to hit for Carter Jensen. A hold in baseball is a rather new statistic. It's probably over the last 10 or 12 years. Pitch to Starling Marte is the breaking ball that missed. Counts 1 ball, no strikes. And Ryan, I asked Steve Stewart during the last homestand, a hold in any other sport is a negative, but a hold in baseball is good.
That's right.
Marte skies one out toward right field, and Jordan Walker hanging out there to make the catch. And Brule works a very quick 1-2-3 8th inning.
And he will.
2 down for Matt Olson. Nelson looking for a 1-2-3 top of the first. Matt Olson drives it out to center. Thomas is back. Is it above the yellow line? It is, and it's a solo homer for Matt Olson to get the party started in the desert on this Thursday night.
Again, where do you want this pitch? You want it in the bottom half of the zone. That's where that 4-seam fastball was. That allows Matt Olson to get the barrel to it, and he smoked it.
So Atlanta with a 1-0 lead.
Just when we think we've seen it all, baseball gives us something new to talk about.
Splits 2 defenders and makes a great grab.
The kick is good, right through the flying uprights.
Whoa, went down inside his chest protector.
That's not a catch? Make way for Batman. People would love this if we did Lady and the Tramp.
Ronald Acuna Jr. pouring dirt into Ozzy Albies' glove.
He flips the entire glove to first base.
Fast and furious and then on.
Now let's dive into this week's top plays.
Is pulled and a leaping grab by Shoebake.
Carson Bench with a pulchritudinous play.
Moving fast toward big league stardom.
Randy Rosarena, Superman catch. What a leaping grab by Quan.
And those 39-year-old legs are still cooking.
Oh, are you kidding me, Petey? Help it. Oh, hey now, hey now. What a play by Ryan McMahon.
How about that?
Puedes ser el dueño de grandes momentos del béisbol. MLB Auction te permite participar en la subasta de bates, bolas y jerseys autografiados, con artículos de tus equipos de grandes ligas favoritos, leyendas y jugadores. Visita auctions.mlb.com.
St. Louis in front 3-1 as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Today's game brought to you by Mark Ferguson, attorney at law, 877-221 Mark. Victor Scott leads off against Falter. And the Royals lefty's first pitch breaking ball is right over strike 1. Scott has singled, and he also reached on a fielder's choice. That was a play where Sajasi was able to score from third base. And a ground ball up the middle and into center field it goes. So Victor Scott, and we talked about it earlier, always a threat to steal, leads off the bottom of the 8th with a clean single to center. And now to the top of the St. Louis batting order, Mason Wynn. Got a run home with a sac fly his last time up. He's also been called out on strikes. And he hit a fly ball out to Collins way back in the first inning. And Isaac made a very nice running play on Mason Wynn's drive. And Falter almost fired it over the head of the Royals' new catcher, Diaz. Elias Diaz. As the Royals hit for Carter Jensen. Starling Marte hit for Jensen in the top of the inning. So 1 ball, no strikes. Next pitch is fouled away first base side. 1 ball, 1 strike on Mason Wynn. Great name for any player in any sport. Winn, W-I-N-N. There's a strike. One and two, the count to the Cardinal shortstop.
He almost just struck out on 2 strikes.
Yeah.
Brian Addington rung him up, and Mason Winn said that was only strike 2.
Rules haven't changed. There's a ground ball foul past third base. Mason Winn with 2 triples so far this year. He's among the National League leaders in that department, and he grounds one to the left of Witt, but Bobby's got it over to Massey for 1, back to first, not quite in time. So Winn avoids a double play. Witt had to go a long way to his left. The Royals were thinking about challenging to call it first, but finally they say no, we will not, because Winn did reach first before the throw got to Benny. Mason Winn with his 4 stolen bases at first base. Herrera digs in, and the pitch is inside. Bottom of the 8th inning, 3-1 St. Louis. Pitch to Herrera, bounces away from the catcher Diaz, and down to second base goes Mason Winn. Wild pitch charge to Bailey Falter. Ivan Herrera with the count his way, 2-0. In the next pitch, almost nicked him on the belt buckle. He jumped back and takes ball 3. It's 3-0. We talked about Herrera's odd stance last night. He's wide open. His left foot, he's a right-handed batter. His left foot, he's standing on his tiptoes, and his leg is way back at the side of the batter's box. Here's a strike, and you wonder when that happened. What decided for Herrera, or maybe what a coach thought of? Try this. It is odd looking. And he takes ball 4. He does get into a normal position as the pitch is headed that way, but why set up that way when you have to get back the other way? Who knows?
I'm going to make an educated guess.
Okay.
At some point in his career, he had a problem with opening up, as they say, meaning the front hip or the front shoulder opens up too soon and the swing becomes long. And that might be an exaggerated way for his movement to be going toward the plate as opposed to away from the plate.
Yeah, that's a good call by you, I'm going to say.
First one of the day.
Now, Jordan Walker up there, he's 1 out of 3. Ball 1.
Or the month.
I don't think so.
Because I think you'd agree, every hitter that has a quirk to their stance, it's compensating for something.
No doubt, yep. 2 on with 1 out, and the pitch is in tight. So Bailey Falter now, after giving up a single and a walk, and now the hot hitter in the Cardinals lineup, Jordan Walker. In the count, Walker's way, 2-0. Dangerous pitch, and it's high, and now 3-0. Would you bet against Jordan Walker not swinging at this 3-0 pitch, given the inning and the score, if he likes the looks of the pitch?
No.
I wouldn't either. Be careful, Bailey. It's a strike. He took it.
He was taking all the way.
Yes, he was.
But as we know, even some of the great hitters in baseball history, some just do not feel comfortable swinging 3-0.
Yep. Some feel they have to swing 3-0. That's not good either at times. 2 men on. Now the pitch from the lefty is swung on and missed. See, you should have swung at the 3-0 pitch.
Sometimes that's the very best pitch you're going to get.
Sure. Runners at first and second. 1 out. 3 balls, 2 strikes, and now Bailey Falter backs off the rubber. When you played, you were a left-handed hitter. Did you like to swing at the first pitch?
Yes.
Include me in. Here is the 3-2 pitch and a high blast out into deep left center field. The runners are going to tag up. Meanwhile, over comes Kyle Isbell to make the catch, and they will stay put at first and second. If Walker had hit it as high or as far as he hit it high, it would be 3 more runs. And I still say he should have swung at the 3-0 pitch.
You like swinging at the first pitch?
Loved it.
We were probably similar college players in that I didn't have a lot of power.
Yep.
So pitchers were not afraid of throwing a first pitch and worried about a home run.
No. We have scattered ourselves very well. Runners first and second. Burleson leaning back as the lefty's pitch comes in tight.
I don't think I've asked you this before. Were you a leadoff hitter?
Quite a few times in college, not in high school. I usually hit 2 or 3 in high school. Line into left field for a hit. The runner to third is going to be waved home, and a good throw home will get him, but the throw is offline, and the throw to third goes all the way down the left field line. But the only man that advances on that throw down the line is Burleson.
And Bobby Witt Jr. do a great job of convincing Herrera he had the ball.
Yeah.
The throw went into left field, and the third base coach, Ron Warner, was just screaming at Herrera to go, and he would have scored easily, but Bobby Witt Jr. was standing right there pretending like he had the ball in his glove.
That's good stuff, isn't it? Bobby Witt is not only physically gifted, he is also mentally gifted in the game of baseball. He doesn't miss a thing, you know what? Runners end up at second and third. Now it's 4-1 St. Louis. Fastball to Fermin is a little bit inside, ball 1. They give Burleson a single, second on the play, or a double? Single.
Yep.
Falter's next pitch is fouled back and out of play, and that pitch was in on the hands of Jose Fermin, who is hitless, 0 for 3. Coming set and coming home and jamming the hitter, and a little popper on the infield. Garcia coming down the line toward home plate to make the catch and retire the side, but the Cardinals pick up an insurance run. We go to the 9th.
Do you guys make your own brisket here?
Yes, we do. We do. We are known by our brisket.
Barbecue brisket sandwich. Quality is better than other places, and it looks good. We're ready to eat.
We go to an average 500 briskets per game. We hear a lot from our fans. They want to try something with wrap, easy to eat. So we say, well, let's do like a, brisket, wrap, and an egg roll.
That's beautiful. You get the gold medal for culinary brisketry here in Texas.
Yes.
They say it's a game of numbers. Pero el flow es completamente otra ciencia. Mi trabajo es sencillo, cachar ese ritmo que solo nuestra gente tira y regarlo por toda la temporada. Flow mayor is where all those rhythms meet. Porque el flow no es de un solo jugador, es de un corillo entero que prende estadio. De San Diego a Santo Domingo y cada parada en el camino. Cuando estamos activos, la liga sube de nivel. Esto es Flow Mayor.
Gosh, we've gone to Sea Dogs games since we were kids.
I've been coming to see the Sea Dogs for the last 30 years. Great experience.
Everybody here is just bends over backwards to help people out and wish the world was like it is right here at the ballpark.
We've always wanted to be more than just a baseball team. We want to be strong, active, contributing members of the community. And I think that effort is seen by the people and the fans, and they want to support that effort.
Today's game coming to you from the IBEW Local 124 broadcast booth. Ninth inning, 4-1 St. Louis. And George Soriano, who appeared briefly last night, comes in to pitch for St. Louis. Caglione leads off. Right-handed pitcher brings it home, and a fastball is outside, ball one. Soriano is 27 years old. He's from the Dominican Republic. Also pitched for Miami. Check swing by Jack Caglione, and it's ball two, 2-0. Caglione has singled, flied out to deep left and flied out to right. Soriano brings it in a high drive, deep right field. Back goes Walker and gone. Caglione. A 2-0 pitch, and he wasn't going to miss that one. So the Cardinals happy for their insurance run in the bottom of the eighth. Still lead by 2 as Caglione circles the bases with his 5th home run. So I'm going to go back to the top of the 8th inning. The Cardinals had a lefty by the name of Brule pitching, and he mowed down Pasquantino, Perez, and Starling Marte very quickly. 1, 2, 3. He threw 10 pitches to get the job done. But now the Cardinals, after all that work, 10 pitches, I mean, he had been exhausted. They bring in Soriano to pitch. Now, that's another thing that Al Raboski and I were discussing before the game. Collins takes a strike. Isaac has been on base once. He walked in the 4th. He is 0 for 2. So it's the old story about you don't know what you're going to get as a manager when you call to the bullpen. Swing and a miss, Collins. You know what you hope you're going to get when you point to the bullpen, but you're never sure. You do know exactly what you had when you watched your pitcher work, in this case, the 8th inning. So why do you take him out? I don't know. And I'm not going to try to figure it out because I can't. Next pitch to Collins is rolled over on and grounded to first, and it is a foul ball. Just at the last moment, it veered off into foul ground, so a break for Isaac Collins there. Four to 2 St. Louis. Royals batting here in the 9th. They've scored a run on Caglione's home run. Jack now 2 out of 4 in the game. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Isaac Collins. Isaac up there left hand. Soriano brings it home, and a drive into right field is going to drop in for a hit. So now the Royals get the tying run to the plate. Michael Massey, so far today, 1 out of 3. He singled his first time up. So Soriano fell behind Caglione 2-0 and then gave up Jack's 5th home run. And now Collins has singled. And Massey takes inside. And 1 ball, no strikes. Infield, hopeful of a ground ball here. Massey looks at a strike, and the count evens out at 1-1. Soriano has to get the final 3 outs, throws low and away, and it's now 2 balls and a strike on Michael Massey. Right-hander is throwing in the Cardinal bullpen behind Soriano. His next pitch to Massey is hit high in the air, fairly deep right center, but certainly playable. And Scott there to make the catch. Collins hustles back to first. So Soriano records the out. Kyle Isbell with a walk, a double, and a strikeout. Matt Svanson. That's S-V-A-N. Svanson throwing in the St. Louis bullpen, and strike 1 to Kyle Isbell. Obviously, the one thing the Cardinals want to avoid is having to pitch to Bobby Witt Jr. again. That is a distinct possibility if they get 1 more runner. Ground ball to second for 1, to first for the double play. So Soriano bent a little bit. He didn't break. He got a ground ball that he sorely needed. And the Cardinals have made it 2 straight over the Royals in this 3-game series. Final score today 4-2, and we'll be right back.
Fridays are for fans. Fans of the Royals, fans of the city, fans of fireworks, fans of fountains. On Fridays at the K, you'll become a fan of the Royals' new City Connect uniforms, the forever